Hello, everybody, and welcome to EUSL Season 4 Playoffs, Day 2. And we've got a nice pre-show before the games today. I'm joined here by Jan Kate, goalie for Bonk. How you doing, Jan?
Yo, doing good today. Wonderful weekend, hopefully.
Nice to hear, nice to hear. Also, Pigshot, the brawler for Hot Tofu. How you doing?
Doing good. It's quite early, but doing the best I can.
Yeah, showing up like a beast, I must say, from Chile, 9 a.m. over there. So thank you for being here. And last and probably least, Scythen, brawler of Lockdown. How you doing?
Yo, almost didn't make up.
Okay, so we've got a questionnaire for today. The theme will kind of be centered around the LAN. I'm going to ask these guys a question. There'll be 4 possible answers on screen. They will DM me their answers, and then I will reveal the real answer. So let's get into the first question here. So the first question will be, who is most likely to forget their peripherals at LAN, which is basically, keyboard and mouse, controller, whatever you use. So the options are Kami, Cookies, Dinfar, or Layfire.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Shot sent me his answer a few times. Okay.
There's only one answer.
He's confident.
I don't want to say something.
Confident. Okay.
Like, I was wondering, why is Nero not in?
Okay, so we got a few answers. We got all the answers in. 2 people opted for Kami and 1 opted for Lay. The 1 vote for Lay was Jan. Why did you opt for Lay? Jan,
I don't know, with the infamous Layfire angle could be happening to his peripheral as well.
Okay, fair enough. And Big Shot, you were very confident about Kami. Why was that?
I know Kami.
Fair enough. I regret to inform all of you, though, that none of you were correct. The right answer was actually Dinfar, beating Kami by 1 vote. So you guys were close, but
that's crazy.
no cigar. Okay, moving on to the next question. Who is most likely to be cute AF? Okay.
Right.
Options are.
Options
are.
Oh, it's fire.
Okay, so I'll explain the tie first. Tie could be either between 2 people or everyone here, right? So there's the options. Okay, then there's me, Kitty Bagel, or Ugo. So let's get them votes in. Let's see. Nice spread of participants here. Some unfamiliar names probably. Okay.
So how did you end up here, man? Who threw this to you?
I rigged it, of course.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we actually have 3 different answers here. Scythen, you opted for Ugo. Why was that?
I mean, he's pretty cute.
That's true. Hey, I'll admit I voted for him. And I will reveal.
I feel like the tie is to throw us off.
Unfortunately, you're incorrect. It is actually a tie, which means that Yanke is going to get the first and only point so far. It was actually a tie. And you know what? I'll reveal something interesting here. Okay, one of the votes for Ugo was, in fact, himself. So, if anyone was the voting, it was him. But it was a 3-way tie there. Yeah, well, Jan, you're in the lead here. Your opponent's kind of left in the dust. But moving on, hopefully an easier question. Let's see. Most likely to snore at their Airbnb. So a lot of people going to be rooming together. We've got Nero, Lucas, Kami, or Sloth here.
We got shit too easy. Do you sleep in VC? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? Okay.
No, there's a lore.
I see. Sure.
Okay, so we've got another split, 2-1. 2 votes coming in for Nero, and then 1 Lucas vote from Jan. Once again, I'm going to single you out, Jan. Would you like to explain why you voted for Lucas?
So didn't Lucas had the Snorlax PvP before and like
He did. That's true.
yeah, and
That's
thing
some
just
ball knowledge.
snores.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe you have a point.
Yeah.
Snorlax.
Picture, you went latest. You voted for Nero. What informed that decision?
Seems like a snore. My bad.
Comes with age, maybe.
Maybe.
And I am able to reveal that it was actually Nero. So it will
Let's
be
go.
Pigshot and Scythen
Let's go.
catching up, both having 1 point now as well. Okay, so now moving on to maybe a more serious topic about the LAN, okay? Who is most likely to win it all? Now, this could be a team or a player I specified, but these are the votes. So we've got Nero, Lucas, Leo. Well, some people voted for wildcards, but I counted that. We got Vaughn, Scythe, and Din. We got TMCT or the full Venom Yami and Brack. Okay, couple votes coming in. Votes in agreement so far. Let's see here. Okay, so I won't falter on this one for too long. We've got 3 votes for the same team. Everyone voting for Vaughn, Scythen, and Din, which is correct. So yeah, and I'll reveal, by the way, this vote was an absolute sweep. I'll be honest, I put TMCT as one of the options, but they didn't even get a vote. I mean, Vaughn, Scythen, Din just sweep the polls.
Yeah, I mean, we have 8-time S-tier winner on our team. I'm not surprised.
True, even though he's held back by his teammates.
Yeah,
A rather
true.
large sweep there. Well, we'll have to see if that holds true at LAN. But for now, the favorites. Okay, moving on. Who do you guys predict to be, or who do you think people voted to be the main character of the highest viewed clip of the LAN? So we've got Vaughn, Nero, Layfire, or Cookies. Yeah, lots of interesting options here. I think, there were angles that you could vote because they would do something impressive, or as a couple of people have voted, maybe because they would do something, let's call it unimpressive. So we've got a 2-1 split here. We've got 2 votes for Layfire, and once again, 1 vote. I'm going to single you out, Yankee. Actually, I'm not going to go to you. I'm going to go to Scythen. Why did you vote for Layfire?
Well, in my poll, I actually put Fawn, but I feel like less people know Fawn, so Leia is more likely to be voted to. And like Nero and Cookies, I don't think is as likely as Leia. He does some very interesting things.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Jan, why did you vote for Vaughn?
I mean, as the NA superstar, I think like he's gonna cook like really crazy stuff and like make really crazy clip-worthy thing out of the land. Even like I was thinking like something he might do something on cam, but I don't know.
That's fair enough. I mean, there's lots of options for why people could be in the highest viewed clip, and Jan's logic was actually correct. So once again, taking the lead here, having 3 points, Scythen and Pigshot slightly behind, both on 2. And yeah, it was just Vaughn. Scythen, you got in your own head a bit, I think. Should have stuck with your gut. But okay, next up, okay. Who's going to be the most banned character at the LAN? So we've got Atlas, Rune, Drakkar, or Estelle here. Yeah, I think characters that okay, we got a couple of votes instantly. Characters that a lot of people commonly play as well as don't like playing into. And all the votes have come in now. I'm gonna go to you, Pigshot. You were in the minority. You voted for Rune. Why did you vote for Rune?
No, bro. Like, I swear everything changes. People think a character's OP and then not OP. I don't know. Rune just seems like a character that people would ban.
That's fair. And in EUSA, it was the most banned character, I believe, in the regular season. But unfortunately, the other two were correct in voting Drakkar. Things do change, but for now, the hatred lies with Drek. So that's going to be Picture on 2 points, Scythen on 3, and Yan in the lead with 4 points here. Okay. Moving on. Okay. A bit of a change of pace. We've been asking about characters and yada yada yada. Here's the real competition at LAN. Okay, most likely to win the LAN Arm Wrestling Championship. So we've got me, Vaughn, Ipa, or Nero as the options here.
Respectfully, why is SMG here? Did you try to rig it in?
Right. Let's be clear. I'm the current EUS Arm Wrestling Champion. Just saying. Okay. We have yeah, you're always kind of the solo vote. I don't hate it. I mean, you're in the lead. You solo voted for me. Love and respect for that. Why did you vote me?
I mean, don't you see like the clip where
True.
you arm wrestle Cray?
I'm sorry, but if SMG wins this, it's rigged.
Unfortunately, the votes were rigged against me, and Nero was able to edge out the win.
Oh wait, I forgot. Oh, Nero is the construction goat.
Yeah, I mean, Nero has like 30 kg on me, but I still win. But just saying, I mean, it might have influenced the decisions. Okay.
My bad.
So, yeah, that's going to be Scythen and Pigshot, both collecting points here. Scythen actually going to be tied up on 4 points with Yan now. Pigshot only one behind. We're going to move on to the next question, which will be, who is going to complain about the patch / the map pool? Or most likely to. So we've got Venom Yami, Cookies, Lucas, or Ty. Once again, Ty means tie between 2 or 3 players as an option here.
This is rough.
Yeah, tricky one. Okay, we got a couple votes coming in. And okay, I'm gonna ask the 2 votes for Venom Yami here. And I'm gonna ask Scythen, why did you vote for Venom?
He has some very strong opinions when it comes to the patches and the map pools. And I think people would see that, so they would vote him.
Okay, a bit of a PR answer here. I was hoping you would flame him, but all good. And Picture also, presumably having the same logic. It was actually Yan once again, the solo voter, who is going to be punished as Venom. A rather overwhelming victory in that one. I think he got about he got about 80% of the votes, I think. So we're gonna have Yan and Pigshot both tied on 4, and then 5 points going over to Scythen. And we've only got 2 questions left, so things are heating up.
Can I just say, by the way, notice how no one from Lockdown is here?
Right, it's true. True. Okay, so next question. We're going to see someone from Lockdown as one of the potential answers here. As the question is, who is most likely to oversleep the day of LAN? We've got Jammy, Scythen, Alu, or Dinfa. I just gotta say, special shout out since we're, on the LAN theme. Shout out to Balu. He did a lot of work, especially in the early days, to help start out the LAN. So shout out him, even though he's not hanging out in the community as much. Okay, lots of votes coming in rapidly here. And once again, we've got a 2-to-1 split. 2 people voting for Scythen, but it's actually Pigshot who voted for Din. Why did you vote for Din, Pigshot?
Sleepy boy.
That's true. Unfortunately for you, though, the man who almost overslept this pre-show was the victor. It was Scythen.
Oh wait, true. Fuck.
So I put myself, but like I'm just trying to win the game. But Din would definitely oversleep. Although that's true, maybe with what you said.
True. Okay, so we've got 4 votes for Pigshot, 5 for Yankate, and 6 for Scythen here. If Scythen gets this next question right, the answer is out of reach for Yan, but possibly Yan can catch up here. So the next question and the deciding one will be, who will be the MVP of the LAN? Now, options here are Vaughn, Scythen, Dinfar, and Sloth. I must note, okay, MVP can be interpreted however you like. So, possibly MVP in a different fashion could be what people voted for. We've got 2 votes coming in already, of the same vein, in fact. Actually, it's an absolute sweep, okay? I'm gonna ask Jan, why did you vote for Vaughn?
I mean, I think he's like probably the Messi of this game.
Okay. I must say, I have to shame all of you. Where's your European pride? Where's your belief in Dinfar, the real MVP? The one who got the most votes over Vaughn, over Scythen, over
Okay,
Sloth.
W.
And that means that the points will not change. So the victor will be Scythen with 6 points. Jan in second place with 5, and Pigshot not far behind with 4. Yeah, close game. Thank you all for participating, but Scythen got the comeback over Jan in the end there. Nicely played. Okay, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna actually do some quick predictions for this day of playoffs. So the first game will be Vast versus Cards in the winners final. In recent history, Wildcards have been getting the best of Vast, but Vast have looked very strong. Jan, what is your prediction in terms of series score? You can give an explanation if you want as well.
I don't know if I want to craft my own story. Like, probably the first one would be go to Vars. I don't know about explanation, because maybe I'm just thinking of Card doing a miracle run from the loser.
Oh, from the loser. Okay. Okay, fair enough. So is that going to be a 2-0 or a 2-1 win for Vas?
Probably a 2-1 win, because Card has been like a really, really tough opponent for Vas, and like that's been proving in the regular season and also in the EUSC final. Or is it? Okay. Oh, in the EUSC semi-final.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, they did win cards. They won it all. Looking strong. Okay, Pigshot. What do you think is going to happen? Wild Cards versus Vas.
You know what? I'll say Card.
Okay. What do you have a series, a game score that you're expecting?
I think if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be 2-1.
Okay. And Scythen, how do you think it's gonna go down?
I think it's gonna be 2-0 to Cards.
Okay. So unfortunately, the prediction's not showing on screen right now, but Jan predicted a victory for Vas. Pigshot predicted for Card, and so did Scythen. I'm gonna put the fries in the bag. Hey, Vas have been looking strong. They've been picking Drek every game, like some chuds. So I'm gonna predict them to get the victory in the winners' finals, which we'll have to see how that one goes. I mean, do you guys think that Blobgap are gonna fare well against whoever they play in the losers, or does anyone predict that they're not... No, you don't think so? Okay, anyone a Blobgap believer?
Weak. Oh yeah.
You think they've been looking pretty bad?
Yep.
Pretty weak. Okay, fair enough. Any Blobgap believers in here? No.
No.
Cookies woke up good today. You know, no mental boom. I can believe.
Fair enough.
I haven't been checking. But if there's no mental boom, actually there's always mental boom. But if there's no mental boom, like, I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Could go either way.
They have 2 nuclear bombs on that team, but they're not gonna no mental boom.
Okay. Well, okay, before we go, does anyone have any shout outs or anything they want to say on this final opportunity for all of you guys to be on the EUSL show? Anything you guys would like to say whatsoever? Anyone? Okay. Okay, fair enough. Just leave it with the predictions.
I just want to shout out to Card to like improving so much from the early season to like the late season. They became like pretty much like debatably the top 1 or top 2 team in
Fair enough.
EUSL currently.
Yeah, absolutely. I
It's
mean,
like
the
really
grind has
crazy.
paid off.
The rate of improvement is really like amazing for me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Lucas did win Most Improved. They got themselves a few awards. I mean, they definitely. By the way, can I just say my conspiracy theory? They just streamed so that they would be in everyone's heads for the voting. Okay, that's why. They don't care about giving us content.
Uh,
They wanted to get in the polls. Okay, it was propaganda. Anyway,
yeah, that
I
makes sense.
think other than that, that will be all for the pre-show. Thank you everyone for showing up and participating, and thanks everyone who filled in the questionnaire for me. It helped the pre-show to happen, so shout out. And we will be back soon enough for VAS versus Wildcards in the winners finals.
And welcome everyone to the final week of EUSL. EUSL playoffs, the finals, winners finals right here. Joining me in this lovely few games for the first few games of the day is going to be P Flair. How are you doing, P Flair?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen here today. I know that these two teams have a bit of a history, and things are not exactly looking much friendlier at the moment.
Yeah, especially because the last few head-to-heads of both of them has been a bit more rough for the side of Voss, even though Voss has been outperforming very heavily, I feel like, in the grand scheme of things. But I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. And overall, just very curious to see who's going to take it all today in this Season 4. That's been the most competitive, I think, that we've seen in a hot minute. As Also, I'm sorry, we're still in Europe. Our map draft is Clarion into Atlab into Night Market, okay? Listen, I'm sorry. We're going into the finals week. All right, we're not doing anything special. But we have a hotshot game for game 1, and immediately the Atlas Drek ban trade coming through, which I feel like that's expected, especially with how publicly everyone's been complaining about that being the only two playable goalies, according to a lot of these teams.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Pretty much as soon as Hotshot showed up for me, I was like, oh well. We're not seeing Drakkar.
Yeah, I feel like it's better though as well, and we do get the Kai first pick for Voss, which makes sense, right? Because we're talking about Kai, we're talking about Alex. Alex has just these core 3 that do really well for him. If they would have that available, you go for it.
Yeah, no, DSL right behind him. That's another one that I'm just not too surprised for. Just wildcard in general. Likes their I want to say collects their fancy passing plays. We know Wildcard can really put on a show when necessary. I personally feel like they're kind of like the favorites here. Voss is by no means like I'm not. I don't know. I like Wildcard. I like how they play. I like how they tend to operate, and I feel that they just fire on all cylinders and they're good to go. Which for wildcard is not as difficult as it is for some people to hit that third gear, so to speak.
Most definitely, and they play towards their win con and they do well. A bit surprising to me that they do lock in the Zentaro. I feel like Ivy tends to play something else more commonly, but she can do perfectly fine on the Zentaro herself as well. I'm pretty certain of that. And we got a hotshot rune for Venom. That's scary, but it's not something you could have avoided at any point, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Real quick, begging your pardon. There's some issues with with the camera, but that aside, I mean, like I said, ending it up with the Juliet now, so not something that I'm against, really. I enjoy I enjoy seeing Juliet. I enjoy seeing now in general. So happy to see them, seeing what they're going to be able to do, especially like with the Spark of Strength. I imagine I could see Juliet going for either, but I would not. But in particular, I would not be surprised if Juliet decided to go for Spark Builds, and Spark of Strength is right there.
Yeah, especially because she doesn't benefit too greatly from hotshots. And if you do get that opportunity to spark stack in a lobby where sparks are likely somewhat uncontested, it's looking real great for you. You know what I'm a bit worried about or a bit curious about? Where the Estelle into now is going to go. I would expect wildcards to put Estelle into the net. Nero has been playing that pretty often and has been performing on it as well, but I can even see a world where you're putting Now in goal and just letting Lucas have a field day on the Estelle midfield.
Yeah, I could see that happening as well, personally. I think it's something that the teams would be expecting, though. It's one of those, issues where you have to kind of like counterplay into it. You have to see what the other team is expecting and then kind of like counter that and then counter your counter. It's one of those things that is, you don't want to get too deep into the weeds with it, but you still want to keep it in mind, like, how deep is this all going to go?
Yeah, most definitely. But I know. I'm just excited. Honestly, we're looking at the last week. We're looking at the payoff of the whole season. This is what has been going on for a while. And if you look at especially for this series, if you look at the head-to-head, it's 2-1 in favor of cards. If you count the European Striker Cup, the thing that Nero has been absolutely riding to death, that they were able to win in every single one of his stream titles, but. This is a chance for us to get back, I guess, for the cup, right? Get that victory here, be that competitive team, and threaten the title in USL.
Yep. So here we go. About to hit the opening kickoff. We can see that, yep, it is the Juliet with the spark of strength. The rest of the team, however, Alex and Venom Yami both have the hot shot. Meanwhile, inverted for the other side with 2 sparks of strength and the hot shot. It's going to be interesting to see how that spark draft is going to play out. There's going to be a bit of a fight for it, seems like.
Yeah, most definitely. Both of the brawlers wanting that spark, and even Lucas ending up going for it as well. So it is a bit more contested than I would have expected it to be, but talking about contestant anyways, the course being pushed around by both sides trying to take the second barrier. The Scream Elf's going to be able to find that punch and get the second barrier off of Nero, as Lucas is taking a lot of damage, but it's still looking fine defensively for the side of wildcards.
Yeah, no, it's not looking too bad for them. You can see, again, like, that whole spark of strength thing is already starting to show its use with all this damage that's being poured out of, like that's being poured out of the side of both Voss and like wildcard, especially when you get that Zentaro on you, can be very dangerous. Flip goes out, knocks it a little bit up and around as we get into overtime. So Venom Yami needs to watch out. They are getting like plinked down, and I think both teams like recognize that. But you can see, yeesh. That the core, on the other hand, just managed to get past. A very nice shot by Balls to get to that corner and get that first goal.
Yeah, it looked a bit odd. It felt like it should almost hit that primary, but it didn't actually quite connect in the end, which is what probably caught Alex off guard as well. But Voss does what Voss does best, immediately gets a KO, and it's going to try to get a power play going for themselves. 1 barrier down. Scream Elf's in the corner with Flip available as well. Nero uses his to get the core out and get Ivy back onto the field. As now, Alf's is actually the one taken out. Full ability rotation coming through there. And now the defensive side from Boss is going to try to hold against this strong 3-man offense as Nero almost takes his own barrier.
Yeah, almost, but unfortunately not quite. But Ball's there to clean it up. Very nice pickup on the attempted clear. I believe that was an arrow going out, just redirected it, immediately caught that. Boom, there we go. 2 for wild cards. They seem to be very on top of this. They are trying to do their best to like cut out passes, cut clears, but you can see, yikes, Ball's having to retreat there. And that doesn't really affect them too much. They do get a barrier out of the deal. So Scream Elves looking low as well. Just this damage has already been just a consistent issue for the side of Voss.
Yeah, and almost another KO being found there. Alf's just taking so many cooldowns to his face that he's just going to have to deal with as Alex tries to get involved as well. Flip coming through by Venom takes the second barrier, but he still needs a solo score in a 1v2 here. Not able to get it through as Alex almost gets taken out. The damage also starting to stack on top of him. As Wildcard's just continuously applying more pressure and making it harder for Voss to really stay alive and apply that pressure properly. But the core's still in the half of Wildcards, and they can't seem to get it out.
Yeah, this might be their chance, though. They do finally take out Scream Elves, and as we get into overtime, Ball's looking low, but they did manage to stick with the plate for a time being. That was a pillar taking them out, as the side of Voss does actually manage to get to full strength just as a double banish came out. Very nice on their part. That damage starting to really, I say starting to, but it has been really showing just how important it can be to a game like this. Wow! Okay.
Yeah, the hotshot rune pillar coming through. Nero not quite being young enough to see that and read it properly. Gets caught off guard by it, and that's the first goal for Voss. So they are on the board. They still need to find 2, though, whereas Wildcards just needs to find 1 to get this first set victory. And again, we're on a spark start, and especially because Wildcards has 2 sparks chosen as their starters, they would love to win this set and get that chance at getting a second spark for any of them.
Yeah, they're really going to want to like fight for that, keep like Voss from making any kind of, you know, positive comeback. They want to go ahead and clear this one out. And you can see Scream Elves got denied as they're fighting over the corner center line. Pillar goes out, nearly gets the barrier. Yes, it does after a little bit of a standoff there. Scream Elves, though, trying to stay alive as the core gets put into their half of the field. It is a bit of a rough one out there right now for Voss.
Yeah, trying to just kind of get themselves collected. The banish comes through as well, hits Lucas, but doesn't really do anything with it. As Ivy's taking a lot of damage as well. Shirley about to get hit soon as well. Tries to get it past Alex. Flip has to be used defensively. Flip used for a KO, but immediately returned with a barrage as it's a 2v2 game now. Lucas trying to get the core past Alex, but not going to be enough as a one-man army. A nice hit stun, though, is going to enable Nero to take it. Flip coming up by Venom got denied as well, as both teams have all 3 members on the field again.
Yep, once again, that Expanse is playing merry havoc with the core bounces. Oni's Blade comes out, and it does manage to get past Alex! Beautiful shot there. Alex tried to clear it down. It was immediately returned to center by Ivories. Knocks it up into the top corner. Alex can't get to it in time. It is, in fact, Wildcard who get that first shot at Sparks. And, hey, Spark a focus right there. Bit of a rough, well, maybe not like a rough draft, but probably not what they wanted, but they're still probably going to get what they want anyway. Yep, there we go.
I think it's a really good draft for Card, just because you have Hotshot on the Estelle already. You're getting Rapid Fire on top of it. You get a second Spark, the cooldown Sparks for now, and you get 1-2 punch for Ivy. It feels like they're just getting cooldowns and damage. You're getting everything they kind of want. Voss doesn't have bad pickups in any way. Catalyst, Peak Performance, Tempo Swing, all still great awakenings, but I just don't think it quite compares, because now, just with the 1-2 punch alone on the Zentaro and all the cooldowns that now an Estelle have, I feel like wildcards can lean even more into damage here, which is very scary if you're Voss.
No, I agree with that. You can see, like, Voss is not, like, completely helpless. You can see, like, Ivory's just nearly got chunked out there. But, no, I fully agree with you in that wildcard, I think, got a very, very good draft. And once they kind of, like, get themselves back into... Once they get themselves into like a rhythm, kind of like a damage rhythm game online, if they could cause a lot of havoc. But right now, Voss saying we don't care about that. You can't, if you can't damage us in time, and we can just score, then that's gonna have to be our solution. We just go faster than you can punch us.
Yeah, talking about punching, I feel like you can very clearly see where the target for wildcards is as well, because Scream Elves has been having a horrible time trying to get into this game, still sitting at level 3 right now, because he's just continuously getting hit. He just can't do anything. He can't get onto the core, he can't really get a good KO threat. Even here, it was really close, but not able to get it through. And it's just really tough as a Julie here to pilot this if you don't have everything that you need already, which puts a lot of pressure on Alex and Venom to hold down the defensive end. That is even more difficult to do, because again, we're talking about an Estelle goalie here, and we're talking about a flip KO as well. Gets returned
there we go.
Immediately. We love these 2v2 games by both of these teams, I guess, as wildcards cannot get the core to Ivy though.
Yeah, no, quick 2v2 going out. Like, Scream Elves finally managing to get about par with the field on that level 5, with being at level 5, so good on them. That may help alleviate a little bit of this pressure that they've been having to take the whole time. Ivory is already looking low. Goal open on the side of Voss as we get into overtime, though. Ivory has to be very careful. Nearly taken out, but not quite. As Balls and Ivories try to position themselves for a shot on goal. There goes Ivories! Knocked out. Like, Scream Elves finally got themselves like a good solid taste. They do also take a barrier. Yeah, no, Scream Elves now very much in the mix level-wise, though Ivory not exactly happy about that. Trying to take some quick vengeance on their core goes flying out of the wildcard's half. Balls has been very, I feel like Balls have been like very nice with the positioning, just trying to do their best to make sure that they get feeds on course, but that Pillar basically ruins Ball's attempt at a clear, and nobody's in position for it. Score second to Voss.
Yeah, that's just the core speed that you get with Hotshot Rune, right? One weird angle that you're not ready for and it immediately goes in, which is devastating if you are wildcards, because you're now trying to get 3, but they're immediately starting off the aggression. Flip being used by Lucas there. Second barrier still alive as Screamouth's taking a lot of damage again, using the flip to get some HP back as well with Tempo Swing right there, but immediately put down to low HP again. So both of these teams trying to fight to stay alive. Lucas and Scream Elf's not looking very fit. 2 flips available for Vosto, and together with a KO now as well. Sure to hopefully get this barrier soon, as Alex wants to get involved as well. I can feel it already.
Yep, there we goes. A very nice pillar backed him up. Scream Alves punched it through, won the strike while Ivory's not able to do anything with it. A very nice response set from Voss, in my opinion. Like, we thought Wildcard was going to kind of run away with the damage, but no, Voss was just on top of it, was making sure, like, no, we're gonna match you kill for kill. We're gonna match you shot for shot, brother. If you think you can roll over us, no sirree Bob. So now they get rewarded with heavy impact. They are putting a lot of stock into this Julie, as well they should. I feel like once Scream Elves got rolling, the tide turned very nicely, although that Timeless Creator and that Berserker is going to be particularly dangerous. I mean, honestly, I do like all of the pickups that Wildcard has. Vass, not exactly looking bad either, so this one I think is really just getting started.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like for Voss, the biggest thing in that draft, as they're almost immediately running over the entire defense by wildcards, but the biggest thing in that draft for Voss was being able to get a heavy impact and a Monumentalist out of the pool and away from Zentaro now, which are 2 very strong awakenings for both of these characters. Now they don't have to worry about them anymore, and they also got them on their characters that actually kind of like having it, because you can see right there, rune damage is not to be underestimated together with the Monumentalist.
Right. Absolutely. So now they've got a little bit more damage packing. However, I think they can see that, like, again, they've been going after Scream Out this whole game. They do not want him to play the game, and for very good reason, because look at all those chunks going out. Venom Yami not looking very good either, however. 1 barrier going down on Wildcard. 2nd barrier going down on Wildcards. Scream Out's looking very, very in the danger zone, however. Trying to make a move on the core. No dice. Pillar rejects the attempted flip clear. Just Lucas knocked it straight into it, and boom, there it is. Score second for Vass, who are on a bit of a tear right now.
Yeah, they won the last set 3-0, I believe, are now leading 2-0 again. They're gaining momentum, and wildcards are not finding theirs. Flip coming through as well, but again, didn't hit the core. Does get the first barrier, but the second one's where it's usually the difficulty arises. The piercing shot is going to interrupt Venom. Venom taking a lot of damage here. Second barrier finally falls on the side of Voss as they're trying to get themselves set up. But there's just it's a very like tight position, which is very difficult to get through, especially if you're trying to go through something like a rune. And then even then, after rune, you have Alex, who's just patient enough to outwait cooldowns.
Yeah, for sure, but it's still like just a lot of rough road. Both teams fighting very hard to try and get some sort of like control over this core. It is starting to pick up them kilometers per hour. I had to translate that in my head. I am American. But right now, look at Voss with the damage. Flip to save the core. Barely managed to save the day, did Alex, but save it they did. Red core goes out. Venom Yami attempts to intercept the out clear. They do manage to keep it in Wildcard's half of the court right now. Banish gets missed, but Venom Yami again with these absolutely ludicrous pillars. They're not ready for it. They ain't ready for it. MVP goes to Alex, however.
Yeah, Venom doing God's work with these pillars, just making it really difficult to find clears, and it immediately gets punished. The last spark is in this draft as well, which is very unlikely it's going to drop all the way down to now. We'll see who's going to go for what, though. The extra special being picked up, so Rune doesn't get it. Spark being denied by Alex now, giving fight or flight to Venom's. Great awakenings for them. You're not going to complain about a chrono boost on now, but you're also not going to complain about an adrenaline rush on Julie. Scream Elves potentially being able to now snowball extremely heavily.
Yeah, again, this is a very, very solid draft, I think, on all parties. Nobody got anything that... Ooh, excuse me. Nobody got anything that they were particularly disappointed in, and making very good use of what they got already is vast. Both gold barriers already open, but a little bit of a mispositioning means pretty much a free barrier goes to wildcard as well. Trying to push to make it for a second one, however, doesn't seem to be happening. Things kind of settle around for the midfield for a moment, but it is in wildcard's half of the field right now, and they are trying to do their best to clear it out, and it's very difficult already. Alex doing, I feel like, just a great job with defending. Beautiful stymie on the clear, and the kill from, I believe, yeah, Scream Elves, just to kind of solidify things. They all move up, they all collapse on the goal, and boy do they score. Alex with that one. Flip retained. All three members of VAS pretty much full sticks of butter. They ready to cook, they ready to go. So we need to see if Wildcard can survive this. They do get one barrier, trying to get to the second. Flip goes out. Those pillars had to make them think twice. I was like, well, what am I gonna do with this? What you gonna do is die for it. That's what you're gonna do, son.
Yeah, the difficulty here is Voss is playing this really strong. They're suffocating the defense, and it's just Nero's having such a hard time with this matchup into the Rune and the Julie together, because it just doesn't give you a lot of angles to get out. And where Estelle shines is early interrupts, right? Getting the core away in the half line already or something like that. But Rune has enough range to just send it back immediately, even if he's overstepped his positioning a little bit, which just makes it so incredibly hard for Nero to play this out properly. And if you are a wildcard, if you are a Nero, if you have that defensive end, you need to find something in excellent defense. It's actually going to stop that. Alex almost perfectly reading the down clear, but it does get defended. Can't get it past Scream Elves in the end, though. And Voss suddenly just one goal away from taking game one in this winners finals.
Yeah, it's pretty rough here for wildcard. Voss looking very, very good as we get into match point. Their Scream Elves has been looking low this whole game, but apparently hasn't really let it worry him too much. They living by health is a resource saying. I say that all the time, and it's for good reason. They are staggered, however. Got to be very careful as one barrier is already down for wildcards. And look at that. Yep, health is just a resource. They are not gone yet. They do manage to get one body out. Power play for the side of Voss. Not quite one for wild card, I believe, because Scream Elves still looking very low. Ivory not looking healthy either. Ooh. They do manage to get a very nice shot. Gets the arrow, gets the barrier as well. A very nice link up there. So both teams still fighting it out very hard, but one side has at least one barrier, the other side doesn't. Very nice save, however, by Alex. Very nice stun. The arrow prevented Alex from moving onto the core. Couldn't get the barrage out in time because of it. That's a score for wildcard.
Yeah, needed score to finally end the streak that Voss was on, but was still very much in a favored position here as the orb goes to Venom as well. Barrier still alive on both sides. Dorito is in a bit of a scary position, does get a barrier with it, as Ivy now, with all cooldowns likely, is going to be able to get an attack going here. Has a flip as well. Surely going to look to use it, gets it out. Venom taking a lot of damage now. Nero putting him into stagger, as the piercing shot's going to try to carry it upfield. But the rune banish coming through, and that's a KO guaranteed. That's an adrenaline rush. You do get a trade back, but Alex with a flip here, together with Scream Elf, sure to score. Doesn't even need the flip. The dash punch will be enough, and Voss is going to take game one.
Yeah, very, very nicely fought from Vass. That game one proved that they are more than ready for like this series. Just some very nice, very consistent offense. Had the defense showed up when necessary. Alex made some very critical saves, and Venom Yami, like, yeah, absolutely insane on the rune. Those pillars everywhere they needed to be. You check the stats right now. Venom Yami with 5 golds, Scream Elves with 4, Alex with a good 64 saves, like just very nice on their part. Didn't do nearly as much damage As wild card, no. But here's the thing: they stayed alive. They stayed alive when it mattered, and they made the most of all of their opportunities. So, like, very good on Vice to be able to pull through that onslaught and prove they had what it takes.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like it came down. I reference it very often, but I feel like team comps often come down to just ease of execution. And I feel like the team comp that Voss was playing was just, it was simpler to execute. It had a clearer game plan, whereas Wildcards I think has a higher ceiling if you execute it well, but if you just need to play really well and almost perfectly to be able to just overcome that baseline that's coming out from Voss's side. But that is the first game, right? A lot of damage, like you mentioned as well, by wildcards, but they just couldn't find the KOs for it. Voss even had more KOs than them in the end. So I'm curious to see what adjustments are going to be made going into Game 2. Game 2 is going to be on AtLab again. We are in Europe. We're not crazy with it. So do you have any picks or anything specifically that you're looking out for, P-Flare?
I would be surprised if they let the rune through, but at the same time, I'm nothing super in particular. I'm just looking at what the numbers are and trying to base off that. So like my immediate thing is, yeah, Venom Yami has been insane with these pillars, so I would be surprised if they let that through. And furthermore, I actually feel like Ivory was doing a lot of good damage. Couldn't always finish off shots. I mean, couldn't always finish off attacks, but I do think it's something to be wary of.
Yeah, most definitely. The danger is just you have a very difficult goalie pool. Again, that's the general consensus right now within the remaining three teams. The goalie pool is just really where the importance lies, right? Atlas, Drakkar, like the prime two, and every goalie then has a good third option usually. And if you're starting to target something like the rune, even though I agree with you, it is something that needs to be addressed properly, you might open the door for a really good goalie pick on the other hand, which is very difficult to say how that's going to pan out. But we do have our draft, actually. And I think this game, listen, I know the Awakenings. I think it's not going to be a lot of planning at this point. It's just going to happen because we're looking at heavy impact fire-up starters. It can go a lot of ways from here.
Oh boy, fire up. That's pretty much what I got to say about that. It's been a bit notorious for, I feel, good reason. And if it is going to continue, if players are going to like continue to be notorious with it, then yeah, that's kind of something it's one of those awakenings you really do have to kind of like pause and go, oh wait, we might need to recalculate the algebra on this one.
Yeah, I'm curious how the fire-up split is going to look like, because heavy impact is extremely strong as well in damage. That's even why wildcards opted to take out the Zentaro, knowing they probably want just the goalie pick here, and they do not want to be giving a Zentaro over to Voss here, especially with Scream Elves, it being one of Scream Elves' favorite picks as well. So we'll see what the picks are going to end up being. It looks pretty similar, though. The goalie picks, again, Atlas going to Nero makes sense. It's not banned this time around. Drek was banned as well. And Alex, very likely, just picking up a Kai for himself again. Expecting here a midfield priority pick to come through. Maybe it's the rune, but the rune on the starter would feel a bit weird. I think Amy's pretty strong, but I don't think Venom plays Amy. So they're just going to go for the Rasmus forward here for Scream Elves. Confirm that brawler pick. And giving Card their 1-2. I wouldn't be surprised if Wildcards picks Estelle Amy here and plays Amy Brawler, because Ivy can play it. They're not going to go for it, though. They're just locking in the Julie.
Yep, keep the Julie, and oh, there's the rune on the last pick there. So interesting. Well, fairly interesting comp. I say interesting, but that's mostly because I'm seeing Julie, and we've seen what Rune can do. So it'll be interesting to see basically both teams trying to replicate what happened before, if in a slightly different fashion, I presume.
Yeah. I wonder if Voss is going triple fire up here. Because I don't think any of them really benefit greatly from heavy impact. Estelle and Julie both make great use of heavy impact. So they're very happy to take it. But Kai, Rasmus, Rune, I'm not sure if there's anything that's like really crazy. I think at best you take it on Rasmus, but even then you can make the argument that triple fire up is just going to give you energy economy that the other team cannot keep up with. And on a map like Atlab, where yes, damage is very playable on it, but it's not a requirement like on some other maps. Very curious to see what the Awakening choices are going to look like.
No, I actually agree with you. Believe it, I feel like I've seen like heavy impact on like Kai and whatnot before, but I do agree that it's not like super common. So I wouldn't be surprised either if everybody was on fire up on that end of things. Meanwhile, like Julie at the very least is probably going to pick up heavy impacts. I wouldn't be surprised if Estelle would either. Just like you said, we're about to find out as we get into this second match. Let's take a look-see here. Oh, okay. Everybody fired up. So it seems like that energy economy just too tasty to pass up for either team. Watch out for those flips, everybody. We are going to be seeing a good number of them.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I guess everyone just wanting to get that speed off that flip rotation as well. But we'll see if it's going to pay out. Well, actually, it's going to pay out for both of the teams because both of them went for it. But immediately, we're starting off again. Game a bit more slow. Awakenings haven't been picked yet. Base abilities are still have a longer cooldown. But we'll see the attack on Alex. The second barrier is commencing, but they just can't quite get the angle past it, even with Ivy directly in his face. Just not able to get the strike war win, as Nero does the good deed and takes one of his own barriers from us.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Not quite the start off that you want, but they're going for it anyway. Lucas with the attempt on barrier. Scream Elves once again looking low. Ivory's kind of threatening, just kind of like looming over him for a little bit, but overtime hits. Nero with just kind of like a cheeky little 1-2 into the strike shot to get rid of a body. But it is, in fact, Lucas that focuses on the core, on the objective, on the score. First blood goes to Wildcard in more ways than one.
Yeah, but immediately you're gonna have Venom and Alex with a flip soon, which could, on a map like Atlab, flip is just very scary because it can double barrier quite efficiently. The flip doesn't connect from Venom, actually. So excellent for the side of wildcards as they only lose one of their barriers. And obviously, if you have something like an Atlas and Gold, you don't mind just having one barrier. Arguably better for you as well, because you'll be baited less into mistakes. As the strike layering is coming through to try to get it out, KO almost found by Ivy, but doesn't quite have the damage as the second barrier falls from Nero. Flip coming out by Alex, and Nero, no cooldown zone, nothing, cannot respond to that, thus tying at 1-1.
Yeah, no, especially like Scream Elves is right there. Probably going to do their best to make sure that goal went in. We are tied up here going into a third goal. Need to see how Vaz can see if Vaz can keep things up and see if Wildcard can kind of like hold the court, because I'm already seeing a few gaps in their defense. There you go, one barrier taken down, trying to make something happen on the second barrier. Flip goes out, tried to kill Venom Yami. No dice, however, on that. Rez kind of like came out just to be absolutely safe. Pillar also comes out as well for Wildcard. They do manage to collapse on the bottom, get that first barrier on their end. So one barrier piece sitting diagonal from each other for Wildcard and Voss. Venom Yami not looking exactly healthy, having to retreat from the play for a little bit to recover. It does manage to put him in position for an attempted defense, however. So good on their part. They do manage to clear it out. Voss trying to keep their defense up, having a bit of difficulty in good transitional offense, but they do manage to make it happen. Goal open on Wildcards.
Yeah, good patience by Alex. They're just staying up front and being that annoying presence. Gonna get rewarded with the barrier as well. which we're going to have to see now if Voss is going to be able to set themselves up. Pillars coming through, strikes landing, but not getting past Nero in the end. Lucas very low, can't really position well to help defense, and that's going to open up the passing play between Venom and Screamouts to take the goal. 2-1 lead now for Voss in this first set. And in a fire-up start lobby, you want to win as many sets as fast as possible because you want to be the one to get Catalyst. That's going to be incredibly important to pick up here. So if Voss can close this out and potentially get lucky with a Catalyst in the first draft, they are golden.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit harder, though, if they're a man down. That first barrier actually gets taken. I believe Alex a little bit too lackadaisical on it. Thought they would reach it before the barrier would taken, but that leads to an immediate defensive collapse. Second barrier is taken, and Lucas finishes it off for the tying point. We are on 0.5 on just set 1. Venom Yami, the only one with a full stick of butter, but most other players not exactly too far behind. Alex get his. Lucas about to get theirs. Flip does go out. Almost gets nothing, but they do get a barrier out of that. Flip goes out to just kind of like respond to that. Doesn't manage to get anything out of that one, though. Core still in wildcard's half of the court.
Yeah, in that top corner, Banish finds 2 as well, as the pillar sends it right back into Alf's hands. Nero now on an open net on Atlas, not necessarily where you want to be. Alex trying to run up as well, has to go back though due to the damage as one barrier drops now. Alex trying to hold on to the second one. Lucas rotating down, trying to set up Ivy for a dash punch, but a great Giga is going to stop that almost immediately. And even then, Alex will have that panic button flip available for himself if he needs it. He uses it a bit early there, actually, as the pillar had it. Good speed boost coming through now, but not really anything done with it. Nice strike by Nero, out times the best touch as well. As now Screamhouse and Venom try to get it past Nero, who again has a flip for himself though, which is an excellent position to be in.
Yep, as overtime hits, both teams trying to kind of like jockey for position around the midfield. Bit of a back and forth, honestly, as things go. Rose Warp goes a little bit wild, but it does get him in position for like a defense. Flip goes out, just clears it clear to the other side of the field in Voss's territory now. Lucas trying to make sure it stays there. Does get intercepted by Scream Alves. Barely misses the Banish, but misses it they do. Gets around the pillar, does the core. Core goes on a trip, Core goes on a bit of a trip around the world, and it's been a bit of a nice little back and forth fight, though attempting to collapse on the goal are Voss. Ooh, nice Giga Blast! Stuns Lucas. Lucas can't get to it and practically demon angles it into the bottom corner for the set win. Nero can't get to it, and yeah, no catalyst to be seen, but still a number of solid pickups to be had for both teams.
Yeah, the team player, always a great pickup for the goalie. Alex just getting that for himself to transition to play a lot faster. Team time is created, good for the Atlas, and also somewhat of a deny pick off the Ruin, but Ruin much rather just goes movement speed, and which allows him to be more present on the field. Rest of the pickups are a bit lackluster, but they're still nice to have. They're all like quality of life improvements. I really do think the team player might be really difficult for the side of wildcards to deal with, though, because if Alex can get max usage out of that, they're going to play in wildcards half almost continuously throughout the rest of the game. And if KO as well, jump, not necessarily what Lucas was looking for. Power play for the side of Voss here.
Yeah, very nice there. Sad boys! Shout out to the champs, NA, but they do manage to get that core around the barrier, not quite getting it. They desperately tried to get it there, but it's just nothing there happened. Although the core is still in Wildcard's court, so very nice on like just the persistence of the play. Neither barrier for the side of Voss really being threatened at the moment. You can see kind of like the play slowing down. There's the barrier take. Felt like Wildcard was trying to think about how to get out of this sticky situation, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be an easy answer for that with how Voss has been playing. They do manage to get it. Wow, just as I say that, they do manage to get a barrier. So maybe all hope not quite lost. There's the second one too. Flip goes out immediately, takes advantage, shot straight to the corner, piercing shot to follow it up. Alex can't react. Because of that, the flinch caused it go in. Nice first goal for wild card.
Yeah, and Alex there had a really tough time because Ivy just stunned them, I think, 3 times in a row. So even though he was ready in the position, he just wasn't allowed to hit the strike because you're stunned. You got hit by an ability. And that's exactly how you can get past basically any goalie if you can time that right, which Ivy obviously is so good at doing as well. Sad Boys angle by Scream Elves. Again, not what you want if you're on the attack, but Wildcard's definitely not upset about it. The banish hits 2 of the forwards of Wildcards as they're trying to, again, take this barrier off of Alex, but he remains steady in the defense. The setup just isn't quite there for the side of Wildcards as Flip gets traded for another Flip.
Yep, flips go out. Another one as well, but that one's still rejected. Some nice defense by both sides, both defenses. I say that, I knew that was going to happen. Commentators curse, my bad, but goal open for the side of Wildcard. Need to see if Vass can take advantage as the banish goes out. Ivory, nice interception. Got a full stick of butter too, ready to use that flip whenever available, but they need to get it out of their corner of the net first. There it goes, flips both go out. Still can't get that barrier. There we go. I am doing a lot of work for both of these teams, apparently. I promise I'm not getting paid for this. But both teams trying to find like a shot on goal. Both goalies really good with the... I'm gonna stop talking. Goal for Vass.
Really creative play by Venom there, seeing his TP playing towards him and then Alf's being ready to stun Nero from getting into position. Lucas also not quite perfectly positioned for that situation as Voss immediately on the attack. Gets a double banish but loses a barrier as the core sneaks past. And it's just increasingly difficult for the side of Wildcards because I think Voss is really defining the tempo here. As the last push past Alex seems just to be way too difficult for Wildcards at times. They do have moments like these where you find that unsolvable situation, but more often than not, they are just falling back into defense. Flip here coming out as well by Nero to defend, which is going to get answered by Venom immediately again. But again, Alex and Kai with this movement speed is just going to be able to walk back and save it anyways, as Ivy tries to get a strike where Win tries to get a punch, but Alex again patient with these strikes. Nice. But in the end, you're going to run out, and Lucas confirms a second goal for Wildcards in this set.
Yeah, very nice. Honestly, very nice positioning on Ivy and Lucas's part. I noticed Ivy had a lot of intercepts from like attempted clears, attempted passes. Need to be doing that. I'm glad they're doing that. I feel like they had an issue with that a little bit earlier, just doing their best to kind of stay on offense, and because that was a bit of an issue in the earlier sets. They just could not get a sustained offense, but now they seem to have either realized that or just playing differently enough that they can actually try and get a sustained offense. But that banish came in at the perfect time to open up the goal line for Voss. Obviously, they don't want Wildcard on offense. They want to be on offense. They want to be the ones scoring goals. So that means they can't let the goalie do their job as best as possible.
Yeah, the primary coming through by Nero there as well, trying to keep the core in enemy half, but they just can't keep up with all of this pressure. Alex also playing on the halfway line as much as he can to make it even more difficult as they're down into the corner again. Pillars coming through. Flip has to be used there. Waits out all the abilities and gets it out. But again, core in overtime now. Just gonna go red. Nice. So fast and so easy. The 1-2 punch there for Scream Elves is going to be very convenient as he slots it in at the very top. And now we're at a deciding point of this match because either it's Voss going up 2-0 or it's Wildcards finding their way back into this game.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it could happen. Very nice creative clear by, I believe that, very nice like creative shot there by, I want to say like Scream Elves actually managed to kind of like clean up a mess there, but they do get the barrier. It is on the side of Vass, however. They do get a barrier, both barriers, in fact. Ooh. They do get that exchange. Scream Elves kind of be on the warpath. Banish goes out. Flip goes out. Scream Elves punches it in, and it is indeed Vass going 2-up on sets. Alex remains MVP, so we're going to get this thing for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was so sad. I wanted to say how nice it was from Nero to walk up there and take that second barrier, getting that range of Atlas and getting involved. But then he immediately follows it up with taking his own barrier, which yeah, tough. And now you're 2-0 down. Now you have an Awakening draft of explosive, more speed onto Alex. Heavy is a very solid pickup for the Estelle. So is Siege Machine for Atlas, but more size onto Rasmus is not what you like to see. And I also think Ivy, even though she is quite an orb enjoyer, I don't think you're necessarily happy picking up something like an Orb Dancer here, but it's the best of the rest. While Wildcards needs to find a good offense, though, because, again, I feel like it's been Voss's game to lose in the past few sets.
Oh, no, it absolutely has, which is kind of unfortunate. I always felt like Wildcard, like I said, Wildcard used to be like, no pun intended, like real dancers with the core, and that hasn't really been able to happen for them for this match. It feels like almost just a very basic textbook shot there on Screamhouse for that first point. It managed to hit both the core and Nero. Nero was just like stunned, couldn't get to it. Everything is going Voss's way for this one. Like I had a witty thing to say and it completely blanked. But point is, Voss doing very good and everything's falling their way.
Yeah, most definitely. And Wildcards just can't seem to find their own groove really into this matchup. Just having so much struggles dealing with Venom's Rune in the midfield, trying to get it past Alex's Kai. Keep in mind, the team comp that the side of us is running is basically the same that they did in game one. The only change is the different brawler. And it's just consistency like that just makes it really difficult. You do get the second barrier, but in this situation, Voss actually does not get the second barrier. I was almost certain that one's going to drop. Venom not opting to use the flip there, as now Ivy tries to set herself up to get it out, but the barrage will stop any attempt from that flip.
No, Banish goes out, but so does the piercing shot. They do manage to get through, tie up this set. So there's still some fight in them. Just need to be able to execute those passing plays, a little bit more consistency, and again, like, remain on offense, trying to find some way to stop this onslaught that honestly that Venom, Yami, and Scream Alves can just sort of manifest. And Alex is not exactly a slouch, especially like with that barrage causing fits, because as Alex tends to move up to the midline, you can see right there.
Ooh, that was that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, the attack coming through now here. Flip available for Nero as well and for Alex, but have to see if they're going to be able to get the second barrier. Flip being used by Alex, going to give a speed boost. The Banish coming through, not able to get the KO into Lucas as the first barrier drops on Nero, though. Flip has to be used defensively here. Sends it down to the bottom, but the Giga Blast, again, sends it out. Atlas Ultimate coming through. Another Flip being used there, but not able to connect with Nero's push there, as Wildcards just doing everything in their power to try to take this barrier off of Alex. They will find it in the end. Also pop the recovery drone off of Scream Elves. But open goal, Kai, is not to be underestimated. Nice angle to be found by Ivy there, though.
So there you go. Yep, definitely. Signs of life from Wildcard. Ivy is just doing their absolute best to try and get themselves in a good position that they can try and like just muscle out the opponents. Another set, boys. There we go. There's the emote this time. One barrier lost for the side of Vass. Trying to even that up our Vass, but no, both barriers defended very well by Wildcard. Again, that passing play is coming out very nice. Support from the Nero gets the second barrier as well. One barrier lost for that, but Scream Elves went for the orb, but got denied very, like, no, why are you trying to take our food? That's our table you trying to eat off of, son.
Yeah, the barrage coming through there, Alex getting involved, but that just makes it open net for both sides, and Ivy has a flip. She wants to get into a position that's not the side, but has to use it there anyways. Another flip being used by Lucas and gets it through, and Wildcards seemingly starting to show signs of life. I feel like they've been having a difficult time getting into their game plan, getting into what they are known to be doing well, but in this last set, it's starting to come together, and they're going to be rewarded with a hotshot for the Estelle, which at the same time is a deny off of Rune. He's still going to get an extra special, and they're actually prioritizing taking away the extra special and giving hotshot Rune. I'm not sure I like that.
Question mark, question mark, question mark is my reaction to that. I get it, but at the same time, I don't. You know, I'm not liking that. I mean, I guess I like the demolition list, and I guess the spark of I don't. I'm sorry, that one kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, I think the extra special propaganda for Rune has gone a little bit too far because Hotshot Estelle is just way too good. I feel like to pass up. I'm gonna be the guy and just say, hey, you want to counter extra special Rune? Just evade forehead. Like it's fine. But well, we'll see how it pans out. Yeah, we'll see.
It is what it is. We're gonna see if what it is ain't pleasant. We'll see what it is ain't pleasant for a wild card. We're gonna find out. Both barriers are open on the side of Vice, so we might not know what we're talking about. We gonna see. We need to see. Flip goes out, immediately denied, but Core was still on the side of oh, well, another Sad Boys, and then a KO. Okay, piercing shot goes through. Alex playing the defensive game of their life. They saved it out. Alex tried the blazing pace to just help clear it out, and they did somehow managed to defend the undefendable right there. Amazing. As we go into overtime, I was like, not today, not now.
I just know the wildcards VC has to have been something like, bro, just lose a strike war, just one, please, because I can't get it through. Alex on that defensive end, also barrier down on narrow now, as both teams are back to an open net. The middle gets popped. Ivy tries to get the core up top to Giga, will send it right out. The team player in overtime is going to come in really clutch as Nero finds an excellent save. Venom not able to get there in time. Flipping use into that dash punch. That's the 100% chance that you need. Those are the goals you're trying to set yourself up for with Juliet, and that's how you executed.
That was a beautiful combination. Like, Ivory's got the mission statement, understood it, and executed it to perfection. Said, nope, Alex, you don't get to be Alex for a little bit. Take 3 seconds off. We good? We good. So now they are trying to shake that back. Oh, there goes that recovery drone. Gets popped, scream outs. That's that lifeline gone. One barrier taken on the side of a wild card. However, they are trying to they are trying to get it out of their side of the corner, but they get squeezed against the barriers, and one barrier gets taken, the other gets Sad Boys. There goes the second barrier. Wildcard looking a lot more groovy than they were earlier. Beautiful pillar, though. Venom Yami trying to remind them, yo, I'm still a danger. I'm still the threat. I'm still the Rune. So Core gets settled down for a little bit, but it is once again in Wildcard's position. They did manage to intercept it for a little bit. Alex with the 6 saves. Yet again, Ivory waiting, watching for their moment. I'll do it again.
Yeah, just a really good setup by Wildcards. They're catching their groove, and also they just have a lot that helps them, right? The extra range on Atlas is just so strong. That Siege Machine, you've seen it in the past 2 sets already. And also, orbs, not to be underestimated. You notice it quite often. Ivy's going for those orbs very consistently, and every single time she gets one, she is the fastest player on the field, which enables a pick like Julie so much for finding KOs or just threatening a barrier take.
Yeah, no, that Orb Dancer really showing its value. I'll admit it, I kind of underestimated it, but there it is. Streamhouse does manage to yoink one from Ivory, but Ivory just says, oh, you take mine, I take yours. We share. So barriers are still up on the lower end. Ivory's does have a flip to play with if they wanted to kind of blow it on trying to get this barrier. Lucas having to retreat, however, it works out just as well. They had to take a defense, however. However, Lucas kind of just burned their flip, I guess, they had the fire up, so get everybody a little bit more speed, trying to collapse on that second barrier. Our wild card. There's the flip, goes out, punched through. Boys, yet again, does not last for very long. Barrier, like the open goal, saved it for a second, but Ivy was just like, okay, we play highlight for a little bit. Knocked it straight in. Beautiful shot. And Wildcard bringing this one back. We thought they was ridiculous for it. Catalyst finally shows up.
You get Catalyst, but there's
Please get
Rapid
it.
Fire as well. It's like
Yeah.
you're happy you get Catalyst, but you're giving Rapid Fire
Rapid Fire
Kai,
would-
which is not excellent. You're going to get bulk up on Julie, which is great. You're likely getting a missile prop onto Atlas, unless that gets denied by the Erasmus. It does not.
No.
So even though you don't like giving up the Rapid Fire, Wildcard's got a lot of really great pickups here with that Catalyst, which is the highlight. And I just think missile prop Atlas, even without the Siege Machine, already so strong. Having
100%.
Roar range now as well makes it even more difficult for the side of us to hold this defense.
I am genuinely, here's the thing, I am a believer in midfield Atlas. I think he can be like absolutely ridiculous, and he can like squash people up against the boards a lot easier than a lot of people can expect. So Atlas getting the like, look at that. I mean, yeah, look at that range. Being able to provide that kind of support from way back. No, I think that's great. So we need to see if Wildcard will be able to take advantage of that, be able to take advantage of their pickups. Like you said, giving up that rapid fire, not the best, but hey, what you got in exchange, sometimes sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah, they're in the top corner now trying to get a rotate to the bottom. Alex immediately stops that though, doesn't get the strike on it as Nero finds nice clears around him. Ivy has a flip for herself already as well. Potentially trying to find a KO or the barrier here, not able to get it past the barrage though. Strikes will be enough as Venom now tries to send it up, but Ivy's just too fast, immediately stops the pillars. Good stun as well, but the angle ain't right as Alex still holds on to this point for now. Attack being built from the bottom. Nero saves it just barely as it gets sent over to the other half at incredible speeds as well. We are in overtime. There's a lot of power in the game now, and the game's going to be very, very fast. Great strike by Screamhouse is going to punish that flip top.
Yeah, very nice rejection. Screamhouse barely missed that, however. Flip goes out, feed it. They tried it again. Alex said, no, I'm starting to get wise to that stunt. No, you can't do that every single time to me. So, good on them. They did manage to win that strike war there. And, of course, saved for a little bit longer. But Wildcard looking very, very threatening at the moment. Barely missed the intercept on the clear. Nero, however, out of abilities, out of options. It is Voss taking the first point in this set 5.
Yeah, and a lot of energy on the side of us as well, which is actually really tough for wildcards now. You do need to take these barriers fast or make sure that these flips do not get any value for the side of us, as Alice is trying to set up in the corner with Venom here. Flip 1 being used. The Julie getting a KO and turned out that's a power play. The flip will take the barrier though. So Voss, even though down a member, is going to be incredibly aggressive now, trying to hold both of their barriers, making sure they don't drop them. They do drop 1, but now really tough situation again defensively. Lucas taking a lot of damage as well. Orb denied. Does have evades, but he might want to greed. And no, not like this. Al's just too big to get to interrupt that core. Get it at the bottom, and Nero not there, not awake enough to find the strike. And the game that felt like it was so firmly into Wildcard's hands again in terms of momentum, suddenly we're 1 goal away from Bus taking the whole series.
Yeah, you don't want to end it like this. Come on, we can do better than that. Flip goes out, immediately denied by the barrage, though. 1 barrier taken on the side of Wildcard. Nero does have a full stick of butter, getting ready, has a flip ready to go, but it is getting suddenly hard, suddenly like flashbacks to, I want to say like around like set 2 right there. Hard for Wildcard to get it out of their side of the field. Flip goes out, attempted counter flip, nothing doing. Screamhouse looking very low. Suddenly the pace picks up really fast. Screamhouse on kind of like death's door. Wildcard trying to move it out. Flip goes out to clear it away, not able to get it. Banish goes out, bit of a standoff there. Center gets popped, bodies flying. There goes one of them. Ivory Lux taken out of the field. Got to sit on the bench for some critical seconds as the entire team of Vast tries to collapse on that barrier. They do get the barrier. Flip is missed. Lucas didn't get it. What was that?
I think Wildcards just, I don't know what it was. I think they just got so nervous. You saw so many abilities, so many flips, so many rushed interactions come to a close there. It's so unlucky for them, but in the end, Voss stayed more consistent and do immediately go into the grand finals. Wildcard's now going down to the lower bracket, having to go through Blobgap to get another chance at Voss. But yeah, that's awful. That's
They could
awful.
have had
to lose
it.
like
That was. I have to agree with you. I feel like that was just kind of a team-wide nervous breakdown. They just started throwing everything without mine, and at that point, it was just Fast just had to weather the storm, and they did. And from there it was just okay, open field. Not how you'd hope to see that end, but honestly, I'm still gonna give some credit to Wildcard. I feel like they definitely bought it back for a while. It was just that one unfortunate mental collapse for the time being. It was rough for them, but you can see like through the stat lines, they held up as long as they could. Some very nice damage coming out. The score total, the saves, all of that. They fought their hearts out, but sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes if you get shake, you get shook.
Yeah, most definitely. It's just a bit sad, but again, we're not done yet. Wildcards is not done yet. They're just setting themselves up for the lower bracket run of their lifetime. As we're getting set up for that matchup, Wildcards against Blobgap. So yeah, congratulations to us again. You're in Grands already. You're guaranteed top 2, but you still got to get that last series win. But we're going to send it into a short little break now to make sure that we're ready and set up for Wildcards against Blob. So don't go anywhere, as we'll be right back with you. And welcome back, everyone, to now the losers final between Wildcards and Blobgap. Have another best of 3 series. Loser of this is going to go 3rd place overall. Winner is going to go up against Voss in the grand finals. But yeah, I feel like there's a big question mark here in the room, and that's going to be how Wildcards is going to be playing out this series.
Yeah, we just saw them come off a bit of a heartbreaker to Voss. They clearly had some jitters in that last set. The question is, are they going to be able to shake those off? They have beaten Blobgap before. They went 2-0 earlier, so we need to see if maybe they can like calm down and say that to themselves again. Just say like, hey, we've beaten Blobgap before. We can do it again. We can get the run back with Voss. Need to just breathe, settle down, and play the game that you are known to play. Play the game that you're good at.
Yeah, most definitely. Question is, play the game that you're good at. We're looking at a clearing game here. We're looking at a heavy impact monumentalist start. It's just another one of those awakening starts where I feel like it's just so polarizing where you're going to go. And I'm very curious to see where the priorities are going to lie. The Atlas ban going out of Blob makes sense. Again, a really good goalie. Strong pickup, and Wildcards now needs to decide, are they going to give Drakkar or are they going to give Heavy Impact Zentaro? And it's looking like they're taking away the Drakkar, which is going to give them Zen. No, they're opting for the now even. The Monu now. Great pickup as well, obviously makes sense. Opens the window for a full Heavy Impact team comp on the side of Wildcards though.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a question mark. We're going to see who they pick in, and there go, yeah, almost immediately with the Estelle and straight into Zentaro. Not surprising whatsoever.
Yeah, really, 2 really good characters, and both of them lean into the heavy impact pretty heavily and that use it excellently. We'll see how the answer is going to be for Blobgap. I'm pretty certain that now is going to go on to Zarhainov in that midfield position, which means we're going to go goalie forward here. You go the Amy. Okay, so this is just really exciting to me because the narrative in a lot of these top teams has been eject goalies are not playable. They're bad. You can't do anything with them. Whether that's true or wrong, I'm not going to start that debate, but that's been the narrative that's been going around. And I think this Amy pickup could be for Zarhainov, no, not for Zarhainov, but could actually be for Yodsman here, a pick that he does really well on and he enjoys playing. And on a heavy impact start, that is excellent as well. And they're going Rune, they're putting cookies onto the Rune, so they're just saying, you know what, we don't care about anything conventional here, we don't care about anything that you're thinking, we're just going to go what we know works for us, and we're going to slam the characters we want.
There is something to be said for comfort picks and not just knowledgeable character picks. So hey, rounding it out with the Kai as well. So yeah, I'm seeing just full heavy impact team on the side of Wildcards. Gonna see how that works. And for the record, I mean, I am still a Luna fan. I'm never going to not like Eject. I'm sorry. I am old and I am simple.
Hey, sometimes that's the most exciting game plan, right? Unfortunately, Luna is just a bit sad. Sadly, not crazy right now. So, like, you just can't really pick her. Like, it's just hard to just unless you brawler her. If you go her brawler, she's perfectly fine. But I don't think we have a lot of Luna brawlers in Europe. So
no, there's a couple in NA. So it's kind of like So I do get to see a little bit every now and again. But yeah, Europe, she's a bit more rare, but. Luna ain't in this. We ain't worried about Luna. Right now, I would say the interest, for me, character-wise, is in the IME to see how they manage to pilot her and see if, that manages to work out. Because against, like, just this full this full team that Wildcards done fielded, it's going to be... It may be a bit of a rough road, let's say.
Yeah, it very much could be. I'm also seeing an angle where maybe it is going to be a now in the net. I do think it's a pick that is playable. Matter of fact, I played it myself last week, right? And it did pretty all right. But no, it's going to be that now midfield Rune brawler. And that's a third game in a row now where Nero's going to have to play into a rune. I'm sure he's not sick and tired of the character already. But at least this time around, he has something like a Kai, who with his barrages actually has a pretty good matchup into the pillars if you do place them correctly. So we'll see how that's going to pan out. I do like the damage on the side of wildcards, but now healing is not to be underestimated, and especially with Monumentalist, depending on what he can pick up, she can take over this game. So we will see how this is going to go, as it's triple heavy impact on the side of wildcards and 2 Monumentalists with 1 heavy impact for Yodsman on the side of Blockgap.
Yeah, not exactly surprising as we get into this kickoff here. Already, you can see like just a few abilities flying just to kind of get some early measure of both teams. Lucas already looking a little bit low as well. Zarheinov not exactly looking comfortable as well. Ivory takes the first barrier. So gonna see how both teams kind of like feel each other out already. Oh wow, hold on. Nero and Lucas already looking very low. 1 gone already. First quick KO, Lucas barely managing to survive, having to evade for their life. So there's a lot of damage coming out all of a sudden, starting to get flashbacks very fast. There they go. Extended power play for the side of Blockgap. Blockgap not exactly willing to let this second chance go. They are trying to take it with both hands very early on.
Yeah, well, Monumentalist, keep in mind, also is going to make your creations deal more damage, and if you're looking at Rune and now, that's going to be basically all of their damage, which means they can also very easily play for KOs and play for that condition. But we'll have to see who's going to play for it better as the pillar takes out the Zentaro right there. Lucas also now back to being staggered. The evade not connecting onto him, but I feel like at this point, they're just trying to throw hands more so than score, and Zars did put an end to it, actually putting the core into the net to give Blockgap that first goal of the series.
Leave it to the person on the businesswoman character to remind people to handle business. Just say like, now is absolutely one of those play the objective gamers, the one who yells at everybody else who's worried about like KD ratio. But hey, that is also kind of like the game here. You're playing to score the core, not necessarily to just beat the other team up. Though it can help. 1 barrier already down for the side of Blockgap, trying to make that evened up. There it is. Second barrier, 1 barrier side piece for both teams.
Ivy taking so much damage off of this Rune Banish as well. Again, something you need to consider and need to be aware of, as Nero saves the barrier there. Yodsman gets the core away from Ivy before she can get a touch onto it, as the setup is being done. The turret there to stop Centaura from moving anywhere where you would want to go, though. As Lucas with the flip and the barrage together actually almost gets it in. KO found by Ivy. Power play for wildcards, as they now just need to find that last touch into the goal. Another stagger onto Zar. The Giga Blast, not necessarily what you want in that situation, and Zar gets his HP back, almost even gets the barrier, but an excellent angle by Nero passes up to Ivy, and she will win that interaction to even things out.
Yeah, very nice pass from, I was gonna say, like, Nero to Ivy. Very nice setup there. 1 barrier already taken for this kickoff. Wildcard, we've said it before, Wildcard has kind of like a lot to prove, a lot to get back here. Last game did not go in their favor, cracked a little bit under the pressure. They want to prove that they still have kind of like the mental fortitude, get through here, want that run back with Voss. Second point taken a lot quicker. That's more what their speed, that's more what they're wanting to do.
Yeah, great setup item. They can force it through. Yodsman right, Amy again defensively in a close range 1v1, not the best, but does excellent at supporting an offense. But right now, damage just again being dumped into both Cookies and Zarheinov there. Double barrier there, unfortunate bounce is going to open things up for the side of Wildcards to potentially just close out this set. The Zentaro ultimate covering everything. The redirect not taking the barrier uses the flip to confirm for himself. As now Lucas has a flip available. Will use it to send it upfield, but Zar will react to it. Cookies taking a lot of damage again. And no evades on this rune is quite scary, but somewhat okay if the Zentaro cannot chase after you, because Ivy also, again, about to be taken out. Zar, flip available, tries to walk up here slowly, tries to not give Lucas that free win in the strike interaction. The angle was there, the barrage was faster though, as now, again, they're trying to get the strike where they're just not able to find it, just a back and forth. And it's a question of who's going to find that KO, I feel like, first.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna need to see who finds the KO, and I believe that was Cookies just taking out Zarainov. That might have actually, I mean, not Zarainov. That might have been who got the KO. But regardless, it's a power play for Blob Gap and a goal for them too, as they take quick advantage. Beautiful pillar by Cookies to redirect the core in to tie things up. First set, but we are at 0.5. This one may end up being a back and forth.
It very much might be, as Cookies takes a lot of damage again, has 2 evades available, is going to be able to get an orb as well, as Lucas is going to take 1 barrier. Flip from Nero walk up, excellent as well, to take the second one. Ivy really low, but staying alive for now. Cookies has a flip available. Nero doesn't have any evades if they do try to damage jump onto him, but they're just not going to be able to find it. The unfortunate interaction between Lucas and Nero there will take one of their own barriers, but if you are the side of wildcards, you're still pretty happy with the barrier situation. You just want to make sure Ivy can stay alive somehow.
Yeah, Ivy did have to retreat from play for a little bit, just trying to heal up a bit, but they did manage to do so, trying to get a position R on goal, R wildcards. Flip goes out, but that monumentally large pillar just shutting down all sorts of like avenues and corners for that core to go more than once. Those exercise pillars have quite literally stopped a play in its tracks, and the other team has had to kind of like rethink the matter. So, need to see if they can get the shot on goal. Nice defense by Nero.
Yeah, so no flips available other than Yodsman. Ivy has hers soon as well. Yods might be trying to get the core upfield here, try to cyber swipe and get a flip out to make use of it. No, has to use it defensively. Sends it up though, together with the turret. Is going to be able to defend it, but Ivy with her own flip now sends it bottom, gets the angle up to Lucas. It's still alive. KO being found, as again, no one finds that last strike, although the side of Blobgap now in an excellent position. Nero really needing to look out for these pillars here to make sure you don't get caught off guard, but because again they stall it long enough, and it's just such a back and forth point yet again.
Yeah, both teams having pretty solid defense. Oh, Yodsman attempted to clear up, and both Ivory and Lucas were ready for it. Ivory not quite able to reach it, but Lucas just, I'm the sniper, I got you. Just knocks it in, and they do take the first set to do wildcards.
Yeah, and you are rewarded with a rapid fire. Peak performance, still a great pickup for Cookies here, but that rapid fire Estelle is going to be doing a lot of work. Chrono Boost finding its way onto Now, and Tempo Swing onto Zentaro. Just again, great pickups, I feel like, all around, as the missile prop seems like a consolation prize for Amy to be picking up here. Same with the recovery drone for Kai, but all of the outfield characters here getting what they want, and I feel like Chrono Boost Monumentalist on Zar is going to be quite scary, because that's going to be a very good amount of speeds now that are also very reliable to get together with the size. So we'll see if that might be enough, or if just simply the cooldowns and the damage from the side of Wildcards is going to outdo what the Blobgap can bring to the table.
We're going to see. Both barriers are open for the side of Blobgap. All 3 members of Wildcard collapsing on the goal, and they do managed to take it. Just not able to respond in time is Yodsman, and they do take that first point very quickly. Here's the thing, I actually kind of like the missile prop on Yodsman, because if anything, I feel like maybe that damage could help them, but not if they can't keep their barriers safe.
Ooh, yeah, most definitely not, and especially because there's so much pressure going into Yods defensively as well. Talking about pressure, though, Zar needs to use the ultimate to stay alive. Down to Stagger still. Gets taken out by Lucas there. Has a flip as well, and Amy is not equipped to defend such a situation. Sends it to the top, and no response by Yodsman's going to get there in time. Wildcards, even though I still don't think they're playing to their top form right now, getting more comfortable.
Yeah, right now they are playing good enough. They do take 1 barrier, try to set up for the second one, but Core couldn't quite get there just yet. Are playing for it, however. They do have good... they do have solid, I would say, core possession. I was about to say that, and then they lose it, so... Who knows what I know, but I don't know what everyone else knows. But at any rate, both goals open for both teams now. Blob Gap do need to start trying to make some major plays here. They are getting damage in, but they're not always closing it out. And you can see like that allowed Lucas kind of like set things up for Ivory. So kind of a rough one going so far for Blob Gap.
Yeah, and now if Lucas didn't have enough cooldowns with heavy impact rapid fire, what about adding a hot shot onto it? You know, like we don't need cool. How about we just play Earth at this point? You get Catalyst for Zar, which is going to be good. The extra special is going to be a deny for the Amy and the Rune further down the line. Team player is going to be fine. Glass Can is going to be great for Nero still, and the Cookie's left to pick up scrap with Deadeye in the end there. But yeah, I feel like Lucas has a build that should borderline be impossible to get on Estelle, but here we are. And I'm starting to not see how Blobcap can turn this game around.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you do it.
Moida. That's how you do it. But they let's see how long that can actually last. Need to find that out. But yeah, no, Lucas looking very, very low. Zarhainif taking a big risk, just trying to go straight into the enemy goal box. Promptly gets stomped out for their troubles. So rough road on that one. They made an attempt. They do manage to tie up the number of people, 2-on-2 briefly. So now it is suddenly Blob Gap power play. They do manage to feed it up to the top. Wow, Wildcard did manage to clear it out, however. In fact, they got the second barrier, so good on them.
Yeah, trying to get it up as well. Dash coming through, the piercing shot coming through. Lucas now trying to hover. The piercing shot about to be up soon again, as he's going to try to set up and does send it. Flip coming out by Yodsman. Another strike coming out by Yodsman. Another flip being used by Lucas. The defense from Blobcap holding strong, but the core not being cleared yet, as Nero can immediately send it back. Cookies and Zardo in a close 1v1 situation has a flip, and that has to go in. Yes, flip will be used to confirm it. And Blobcap up in this third set.
Yep, 1 for Blob Gap, but they've got a bit of a mountain to climb. They are 2 sets behind, so they just need to focus on these goals one by one. Maybe these kills one by one. That's a way to start things off. Beautiful shot by Yodsman, getting a first barrier. Now to see if they can get the second one out before power play time runs out. They do not. In fact, it is Ivory who sets up, gets themselves a second barrier. Another one as well. Both barriers traded. Bodies going flying yet again. However, the core is saved from going in. Nice defense from Wildcard. Need to see how long it's going to last, though. Flip goes out, tries to demon angle it, but no, Yodsman does manage to save it. Zarhainif looking very low. Flip goes out again from Zarhainif, and does manage to get shut down. Pass is going out. Pillar, I believe that was, yeah, Banished Pillar combo from Cookies. And suddenly, nice rebound off the center, expands as it comes back for Blob Gap. Suddenly, there is a real chance they can bring this one back. 2-0 for this third set in favor of Blob Gap.
Yeah, I'll be so real. That point should have ended so much sooner in favor of Blobcap, but somehow they still got it in the end, and that's the thing that matters, right? Turret in the top now, not able to get the barrier, actually losing a barrier, using a flip as well, as now you have wildcards back on the attack. Zar's going to have a flip available soon. The Amy Cyberstep not hitting anything. 3-man offense from wildcards up top. The Strike War win is going to send the clear down, though, as you do have Zar potentially taking a barrier here soon. They do have a flip on him. See if they're going to greed for a second or just going to take one with that, as he's trying to one-up. Uses the flip, gets answered by Nero immediately. The turret just splits the map with that missile propulsion range. As again, it's just a lot of damage dump back and forth, and it's just you're just trying to create a situation where the enemy just messes up once, and they lose so much for it.
Yeah, for real. And I do want to say something real quick. I have no clue when Lucas's primary is on cooldown or when it isn't. Good gracious. Seems like Lucas just kind of like uses it at will at this point. It's insanity. Like piercing shots everywhere. That is a fully automatic sniper rifle.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not running the numbers, but gut feeling is telling me he probably has it like every 6 or 5 seconds, unironically, because it's just ever present, like you said. But right now they don't need to worry about that. They need to worry about getting the second barrier off of Nero, because it's actually very difficult flipping use by Zarter as well, not connecting onto anything. As Yode's gonna play to the corner, gonna try to wait it out, but again, not covering everything. The glitch prop not there in time, the TP not there in time, and wildcards finding their first goal of this set.
Yeah, just a very nice on that point. I believe that was like Lucas feed to Ivory. They did manage to get that point, much needed. Need to see, because obviously they want to close this out. They want that run back with Voss. They need to kind of like focus in and just like close this one out before Blob Gap can mount any sort of like offensive, whether mentally or physically. Flip does go out to prevent that clear from getting past Yosman, and Blob Gap do get that second barrier. Nice barrage. Blocking off the pillar attempt clear, but Zarhainov does have a full flip if necessary. Ready, I saw that coming. As soon as Nero flipped, I was like, yep, there. Zarhainov came right in beside it, flipped, knocked it straight in, and suddenly Blob Gap back in it. One set for them, and a few interesting awakenings here to start us off.
Yeah, this is the first spark that we're seeing, so I do like the spark pickup, because at this point, if you go into another draft, you're gonna have a priority pick for it. So the aerials pick up really nice for Nero to get more active. Bulk up gonna help Cookies with staying alive. Again, more speed with fight or flight. Survivability for Reptile. It's really just survivability and scaling for the side of Blobgap here, and Wildcard's just wanting to get immediate power so they can win in this set specifically. They don't want to go to a set 5, because in a set 5, the Rune and the Now are gonna scale even more, which you don't want to be dealing with.
Yeah, for sure. That is the big scary bit, and you can kind of see flashes of that already with the damage that Lucas and Nero have been taking, though. Yosman not exactly comfortable, as there's a brief rotation, I believe, feels like, but Yosman trying to like back off for a little bit. Lucas looking very low, looking near staggered. Do get one barrier, however, do wild card. Cookie, not exactly the picture of health either. Gotta be very careful, as, like you said, the scaling gets bigger, the damage starts flying. Like you said, now and Rune scale pretty hard, but that's not to say like these other characters can't scale hard as well. It's something to be careful of. Flip to kill Ivory, makes a move on the second barrier, and there they go. Goal open for the side of Blob Gap as we hit into overtime. Yosman looking very, very dangerous. Quick heal by Zarhainov to get rid of that, but no, you don't get to escape your fate that easily. So now we've got two non-goalies going up against a full 3-man attempt to try and get the goal in, and get it in they do.
It appears to be that second barrier that's really the difficulty here. Wildcard's very confidently dropping one barrier sometimes and just not dealing with the abilities being used there, because that second barrier is so difficult for the Now Rune combination to get through. As a very clean KO gets found by Blobgap, they're gonna get this bottom barrier almost gifted to them again. Flip coming through, but Nero is there. Lucas there as well to layer the strikes, but better layering from Zar, and Cookies comes through there as now Ivy back on the field. One barrier down, but Blobgap wants to transition into an attack here to get the core upfield faster, but they just can't quite get it past Nero's defense. Flipping used by Lucas here, sends it to Yodsman. The hit stun does not connect, but the strike's still there, and likely Ivy being just dead here. Core being sent out, flipping use, another KO being found. Blobgap really finding these KOs, which they need to, I feel like, to get past this defense.
They are absolutely going to need to do that, and if they can continue to execute then it is Blobgap who might be taking their revenge on earlier for that 2-0. But Wildcard definitely has a thing or two to say about that as they get like a quick KO. Piercing shot goes just slightly wide of the core, not able to get those barriers on top. But I was about to say, but they do get it there. They do. There's one at the very least. Barrage goes out. Yosman kind of on a tear, getting these really sick cyber swipe combos. But they do not manage to get a barrier just yet. Oh, the attempted back pass intercepted by the Barrage. And there suddenly Blobgap's goal open.
Yeah, flip by Ivy there as well. The pillar is going to come through. And another KO. Yodsman just so good at these cyber swipe glitch pop combinations, getting these KOs so regularly against Lucas and Ivy, who are a bit too close to the edge. Another KO being found there by Czar. As the glitch pop stuns Nero, the missile prop coming in clutch there. Nice clear upwards. Again, Nero gonna be there. Yodsman not able to walk up too far because he does play on an open barrier, which is really dangerous if you are on an eject goalie because of stuff like this. Because of exactly stuff like this. It just needs to go a bit south, a bit too fast, and you just get scored on. And yeah, that's Wildcards, 1 goal away from taking the first game.
Yep, Yosman a little bit too lost in the sauce. We was just saying like, oh, they were doing great on these like combinations, getting these KOs. Here's the thing, you're getting KOs, sure, great, cool. You need to score. That's how you win the game. You could get 100 KOs and you still lose if the other team still gets 9 points before you. It sounds simple, but sometimes that can get lost in the heat of the moment. So they need to kind of like they need to tighten up that kind of like level of defense. The offense is great. The defense needs to tighten up. However, Nero has been doing all right with their defense and letting their two aggressors actually like score points. There we go. Barrier comes out again with the KOs. You finish off the point. There we go. Thank you. Tie set.
I was a bit worried Cookies is actually gonna somehow like hit it into the drum at a weird angle. It's just gonna send out and he's gonna have to use the flip, but no. Blobgap very much in it still. Cookies has a flip. You want to get value out of this flip. 1 barrier down, but again, you don't care about the first one. You care about the second one. As they're trying to force it through Ivy and Lucas here. Not able to do so. Flip being used in a horrid timing because it's just going to get stuck there. Turret coming out as well. That's a lot of cooldowns being used. They do get 1 barrier. Can they get the second? They do get the second. Czar also being able to jump right back into the action there with the ultimate as Yodsman holds his abilities. Potentially looking for a KO or for an aggressor here as a flip comes out. And again, defended. Ivy not able to find the angle. Cyberswipe still available for Yodsman. Going up now and the pillar stops everything there. Nero, though, has seen these games before, has played them before into the rune, and holds on defensively as the HP bars are starting to slowly fill up again.
Yeah, some very scary situations for a period of time, but things settled down briefly. Attempted feeds are high enough, who had a flip waiting, but Barrage was right there. There's the flip goes out, backed by the turret, but Core unfortunately slips through, not going into the goal net just yet. Trying again. What a combination. Just pillar to post, and another set win as they finish off that point after the kill, thanks to 1 Cookies. Set win for Blobgap. We are tied up. Wildcards do not want to like have this breakdown again. They don't need to be here again, but they're going to have to.
They're going to have to, and the question is, what do you take? Explosive Entrance for now is scary. Adrenaline Rush is a great deny pick. You just go Spark. You need to double deny the Spark. You don't want to give Yodsman that extra ability, that extra damage or that extra cooldown. So Yodsman going for the Orb. Stinger, a great pickup for Zen as well, but I'm not sure Wildcards is looking to play KO at this point. It's also something I want to highlight. The team players coming in very clutch for Yodsman because it helps them rotate the attack so much faster, which is so important when you're not great in close range 1v1s. Especially in that last set, I feel like there were a few situations that really only were enabled due to team player being a thing in Yodsman's hands.
No, yeah, I agree with you, and While I do agree that, you know, wildcards aren't really playing for damage, at this point, I feel like Blobgap kind of, maybe not was exactly playing for damage, but they were getting a lot of use out of it. So it's like, why not just take some of that stuff away from them, not let them even get, like, remotely closer to any sort of, you know, like, real solid, achievable win condition. Need to see how that is going to end up. So right there, you can see Ivory nearly deleted, had to abandon the play for a little bit, but Nero had a flip, shot goes a little wide, but they are having a tough time getting this second barrier as overtime hits, for either side, really.
Yeah, this is an observation I've made when I played Blobgap last week. When things are starting to get a little bit tense, a little bit more rough, they tend to play all three people in the nets, basically. And that makes it incredibly difficult to score on them, because they also tend to play character that can swap sides extremely fast, which means they're basically playing full counter push. They're sitting on their own barrier, waiting for you to just make one mistake that's too difficult to stop your own offense, and then they are immediately on your case and just jumping into the enemy half, being that aggressor, and that seems to play out for them this time around as well. Because again, Cookies is the brawler here, and there are times where Cookies is clearly the furthest player back on this team.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, and meanwhile, like, just very nice on Cookies to catch the rebound. Cookies, it wasn't exactly far back that time. That seemed to me like Nero just wasn't ready for that one. Just a bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment, even though the core wasn't red.
Yeah, but we are on the bounty cancel. This is where it gets a bit messy. Flipping used to get the core out. Immediately takes a barrier turret coming through as well, as the three-man push is coming through, but it gets defended. Zar now, together with Yodes, almost able to get this barrier off of Nero, but the strike is there. Flip available for Nero again. If he does need to use it, might want to use it aggressively even to get this barrier off of Yodes, as the glitch pop is going to be there. Flip being used a bit early, I feel like, but rather early than late. As the beautiful combination coming through by Lucas and Nero there to get a KO. Now immediately trying to get this power play going. Nero just staying up front. A banish will completely shut that down though, as the bounce is going to be there. But the clear out into the beam is going to be there. Lucas with a great intercept.
Yeah, just was there, ready and waiting. Even had to kind of like shake off the banish, shake off a little bit of all that weird, icky stuff. Bummer, I forget what it's called, but they did manage to make it. Who didn't manage to make it was our High who basically got blasted against the wall. Giga Blast came out, but it is a power play on the side of wildcards. One barrier gets taken. Need to see if they can get another one. Zarhynef right back, but that barrier is taken, and they get a body in exchange for it. Beautiful shot there. So it is power play for the side of Blobgap now, but open goal for them as well. They still need to be careful. The Yodesman can't get too eager, or just you can just get shot like that. Lucas just nice piercing shot to give them potential match point for wildcard.
Yeah, and they do have the energy for it as well. So I do feel like Blobgap needs to get these barriers down fast and just play in enemy half as much as they can. Because if wildcards gets into a position where all the barriers are down for the side of Blobgap, it's really hard for them to continue to play this out. Also, very unfortunate anti-synergy there to stop the KO that would have happened. Now losing both of the barriers as well. Zar trying to get this core over. Doesn't even get that barrier for it as Yodes on 0 HP. KO found though. Good pillar as well to stop the flip. Zar gonna take one of the barriers finally now. Trying to set up. Takes a second as well with the hit stun. Lucas is also low. Needs to be careful with the positioning. The glitch pop almost putting him into stagger. As they're playing through the middle, the Dorito is going to be there. Strike coming through. Turret being set up. So much pressure in the top of wildcards is there, but never mind. Now is going to be enough, and we're going to a set 5.5.
Right. They had to throw everything at it. They quite literally just rammed that one through a brick wall to get to this set 5.5. But immediately, the Giga Blast, I believe that was just completely knocks out Zarhynef. Power play for the side of wildcard. Yodesman does still have a flip. Ivory, a little bit too fast on there. Oni's blade comes out. Flip comes out as well. Pillar as well knocks it up to the floor. Cookie's not looking very good. All three members of Wildcard are kind of on the hunt. One barrier goes down. Second barrier goes down. Ivory trying to get into position. Barriers are done for the side of Blob Gap. Ivory's trying to wait, trying to make sure that they're in position. Barrage goes out. Lucas as well. Giga Blast, very cautious, very scary at the moment. Ivory's has a flip, dashes in, flips in their face. Pillar in response, banish everywhere. They are trying so hard, Wildcard, to push anything and everything through, but nothing doing. Blob Gap stays on top anywhere. Nero actually technically dies. I believe that was the recovery drone, and suddenly it is Blob Gap that has an opportunity here if they can keep things on an even keel. Have to be very careful, however. Mine goes out, Pillar goes out, but flip! Top corner! Blob Gap snatches victory from the jaws of defeat.
Oh, what a play by Blobcap there, playing that defense so well, not giving Wildcards a chance, and Wildcards committed so heavily into that. They said it's this or it's absolutely nothing. They ran into that damage zone and took so much damage from that, and then the abilities just did so much damage on top of them as well. They were not able to find that last bit of force through the defense, and that, again, I said it before, sometimes they're just kind of playing three-man defense, and hey, it works. So what can you do about it realistically? Blobcap takes this first game win that felt like, at one point, really difficult for it to even be an idea that this could be a win for them.
Yeah, but at this point, Blobgap looking like they very much want to take vengeance on Wildcard for that earlier loss. They're trying to say, no, you got you one, but we're the ones on the come up. We're the ones going to Vice. You've had your chance. You're done here. So we need to see if Wildcard is going to be intimidated by that, if they basically hit a skid at the worst possible time. I don't think they did. It came down to one goal. But Blobgap definitely, I feel like, feeling good after that one. Hard fought, hard won.
Yeah, you're happy you get the win because that's going to put a little bit less pressure onto you. Now you're in a situation where you need to win one of the next two. Meanwhile, Wildcards cannot afford to lose any maps anymore, because if they do, it's just done for them today. And I don't think Wildcards really mind as much as other teams might. But the next game that we're going to be playing is going to be on Amy's app, and that was Blobgap's pick. And I don't know if you've paid attention. There's a lot of damage that has come out from the side of Blobcap, of course. But I think a lot of their KOs that they found were due to just pushing people off the edge. It wasn't necessarily putting them into stagger. It was stuff like the Amy combos, the now staggers, like anything like that. And on Amy's app, if you're able to do that consistently, push people off the map like that so efficiently, you are in a very good position, which is why I'm excited to see this next game play out. On the other hand, I know Wildcards has scrimmed Amy's app a decent bit as well, so curious to see where they're going to go with their preparation for this.
Yeah, both teams are ready, I feel, for this map. Both teams have comps that can use and abuse this map to its fullest, so I personally do expect a lot of that. I feel like I'm expecting a lot. Like, honestly, these matches have been KO heavy, it feels like, or at the very least just like violent heavy. And Imi's app is by no means going to reduce any of that. It's probably... I tell you what, I am pseudo betting that we are going to see like minimum 5 KOs first set.
Yeah, I mean, it's... You go ahead.
No, I'm saying like... What?
It's, I think it's going to heavily depend on the Awakenings that we're going to see, because there's a world where we get like peak performance team player, and then it's the priority is going to shift heavily. It's also going to be a very telling point if either of these teams are going to try to ban out Atlas. I think if you leave Atlas on a map like Amy's app, you are able to pick it for yourself, you can very much play for a more control approach where maybe occasionally you go for a KO as opposed to always going for it. But it's rapid fire up. What are we doing?
That sounds familiar.
Oh well, the rapid fire starts are always so intimidating because there's just like cooldowns are gone. Like they're just oh man, I don't even know where the draft priorities is. Like oh, what do you go? Okay, I think Estelle has to be high prio, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
rapid fire, and it's a
Estelle
good
has to be
goalie.
like
It's a good midfield.
Estelle has to be like first pick. I think she's gonna be first pick.
I would agree with you. You know what I'm curious about? Again, the Trek
Sure.
Atlas propaganda that everyone has been saying. Is it strong enough to still keep Trek Atlas to be the 1-2 for bans here? Or are we seeing something different? Maybe Nero has had enough of playing into Rune 3 times. He does have enough of playing into Rune 3 times. They're just gonna ban out the Rune.
Like, forget it. We're done. No more of this pillar crap. We're good. We're good for the day. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. It was
Yeah.
So if Drakkar does show up, I think it's going to be fun times.
I think he is going to show up. Because we're on a rapid fire start and it's left open.
Yeah.
The Julie ban I see, because Julie still is very good on this map.
Not Estelle, but
Yeah, I think it might be. Ooh, I wonder if they're going Atlas here. I feel like they have to, otherwise they're giving Drakkar as a brawler. So Blobcap needs to probably take away the Atlas, and then they could Atlas Rasmus. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know where the priorities are. Estelle's still really good. It's I hate rapid fire starts. Can I just say it? I just don't like them.
and there's the Estelle. So yeah, if there's a rapid fire, you gotta have Estelle. You gotta have Estelle. She's too good.
Yeah, she's there's also fire up on the other side, which no, you have to go all rapid fire. Okay, yeah, they're going Atlas Estelle, so they're putting Estelle in the midfield. They're denying the Atlas pick, which makes sense. We are on Amy's app, right? And Estelle, a solid pick on this map as well for the midfield department. Now this opens up the possibilities for cards still. They could put Drek into the net here, which I think is what's going to happen. Drakkar in the goal with rapid fire is going to be very difficult to get past, which means they have a brawler in the midfield still open. They could. I don't know if they would Rasmus. I think Rasmus nowadays has fallen off a little bit in priority for Amy's app, even though the hook is very funny. People have learned to play around it and make it difficult for people to get that value. So it is going to be Asher now, which makes more sense. You're just playing a more simplified shove game plan.
Yeah.
And you kind of need something like that into an Atlas as well, right? Because you're not going to be able to outplay his huge defense, but you are going to be able to outlast it.
Yeah, Atlas does not run, he walks, and just his defenses are formidable, but they are quite finite. So yeah, I could definitely see that. 1 second.
Zentaro coming through as a last pick makes sense. Just a good pick. Allows you to be a bit funky as well in the offense. Honestly, I'm a bit sad. I don't know where he's standing in the meta. I would have loved to see a Cookies Kazan here on a rapid fire start. But unfortunate, he didn't see the vision or doesn't agree with me. But we will see. Again, pretty standardized draft, though. I think the most interesting thing about this is the fact that we didn't get that we're having Atlas and Drek in the game for once and not in the bans.
Yeah, that would be the most interesting part of it for me. But other than that, both teams not super fantastical. Like you said, one of them is just going to be trying to shove the core through. They're going to try and bully. These are ladies who bully, and they honestly do it fairly well. So need to see if Imi's app will be amenable to that.
Yeah. We will see. We do have a smaller little break as Yodsman needs a little bit, or not Yodsman, Blobcap specifically needs a little bit of a break.
Okay.
So going into the game, who do you say out of all these 6 characters, who's gonna get the first KO? Because we're still on Amy's app, someone's gonna get a KO. Like,
Honestly, I am kind of flipping between Zentaro and I'm actually going to say like Asher, because once Asher like gets her whole, honestly, even before that, Asher can just kind of squish you against the boards. And I feel like that might end up being the case there. Like Asher, like maybe like Jakar shoots somebody, now follows up, and just Asher just squishes you in the boards or just pushes you down the hole.
yeah, I would like to believe it's just something stupid. I want it to be like a Now Dorito that just lies somewhere and someone's just not ready for it. Like, Now's gonna put a Dorito in the midfield somewhere, Estelle doesn't check her blink and just blinks directly into it. That's what I want to see. Is it gonna happen? Probably not, but that's what I want to see. That's where my heart is going in this game.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if Estelle got the like first kill, but I want it to be Asher. That's my take on it.
I feel like it's also very interesting to see who of these players are going to go fire up and who's going to go rapid fire. I think in a rapid fire lobby, you almost always go rapid fire for yourself. But if I'm being honest, I think maybe both the brawlers. No, never mind. I was going to say maybe you can get away with not going rapid fire on Asher and Zen, but it's just more cooldowns. It's just more uptime. There's no reason to not go rapid fire here. The only reason would be if you are betting on a catalyst pickup for yourself with the fire up further down the line. Or maybe I'm just stupid and it's just fire up for everyone. But I don't fully see that or believe that myself.
I could see some. No, you're right. Everybody's got it. I was trying to think of a reason for like somebody to go fire up over rapid fire, because I mean the speed is good, but boy, that's just too much utility you're leaving on the table for like literally anybody in this match. Like I think we're gonna see a whole lot of popcorn.
Yeah, I feel like, is there any character that I think might not want rapid fire in a sort like that? I guess maybe a Julie. She doesn't really care for a punch to have that low of a cooldown, maybe. But then again, I'm not a brawler. I might be coping. But we are loading into the game, so we're actually going to see who's going to go it. But I'm fully expecting this to look like a cinema. Be that gameplay or be that the amount of popcorn that's going to be spilled on the floor, like you said.
We're about to find out as the players get set up. This has nothing to do with technically the game. I like Now's like the weird like, little Christmas outfit. I always thought that one was very neat. Like that's one of my favorite outfits. But we're going to find out as we get into this possible last game. Blobgap up by 1. They want to take their revenge. Wildcard looking for the run back, and they've got to repeat what they did before. Almost everybody takes rapid fire. Cookie, the lone holdout who takes fire up as we get started here.
Yeah, I can see why. I still think rapid fire for Zentaro is still very valuable, but you don't rely on it, so it's fine. You have that opportunity. Almost a KO being found there already, and it's actually Yodsman who gets the first one. I don't think anyone would have guessed that one.
No. Glad I didn't bet.
Yeah. Glad he kept your money. Okay, yeah. Blobcap immediately coming out swinging with a KO and a goal as well. As basically no one in the lobby, or no one of wildcards is level 2 yet even, so they even have that advantage in terms of cooldown. A good piercing shot's gonna force it through narrow there, barrier gone. And Ivy also, again, just really low, about to be taken out again. Will be taken out by the Zentaro here, who now has Flip. So Blobgap just really playing it out here and making it extremely difficult for wildcards as they're sure to get into a position where they can score soon, but no, Drakkar and Nero's just doing such a good job at keeping the score away. Really difficult to get it through. Flip coming out, fire up is activated, but not really able to get anywhere with the movement speed.
Yeah, that is stout defense coming from Wildcard. Honestly, their defense has been fairly strong for most of these games. They just tend to like crack in small moments. So need to see if that ends up being something that they can clear up. Meanwhile, Lucas looking a little bit worse for wear for at the very least a little bit, but hey, it's now. We healed through those. As overtime hits, Yotaman, Zarhainov both having flips. Nobody on the side of Wildcard having one yet, though Nero and Lucas looking very close. Not able to get it in time, however. Zarhainov burns theirs for a shot at the bottom for their second goal for Blob Gap.
Yeah, and they are now only 1 goal away from taking a set win already, which is... It feels more dominant than I would have expected it to going into this game. But I can kind of see why, because now and Asher do need a bit of time to get online. They do need some awakenings to really show their full strength. Whereas Zentaro and Estelle, they're already good. Like, they're not gonna need anything extra. They're gonna do what they need to do with their abilities already. And the Atlas ultimate here is gonna come in clutch to keep Cookies alive, which is why I feel like on a map like Amy's app, that Atlas is also such an excellent pick. The flip not hitting anything there, and the expanse also gonna stop that barrier from being taken. As Zar's running for his life, Nero trying his best to get him off, and will do so with the strike shot. Cookies has a flip, might want to use that to stall, or they're just gonna say, listen, we're gonna hold on to this point for as long as we can, but we're not gonna be sad if it doesn't end up working out. Flip being used, and Zar back on the field.
Yeah, meanwhile, defense coming in for the side of Blob Gap. Really don't want that barrier to be taken. They are already having to... They already have 2 points up. They don't want to start giving them up already as overtime hits. Zarhainov still looking low. Might not be trying to let Zarhainov play the game. Ooh. Zarhainov says, I'm going to play it regardless. Beautiful, beautiful, shot up there, combination. But they do pay for it. Meanwhile, Sad Boys comes out in this situation, and suddenly it is actually a power play for the side of Wildcard, because they managed to time that KO pretty nicely. Don't manage to get anything out of it before both teams are equalized once again, however.
Yeah, the defense from Yodsman holding strong. That Atlas is just that defensive fortress. And as the Asher, right, if you can't get rid of the cooldowns that Atlas has beforehand, it's just really tough to get it through. Nice behind the back clear there as well. Rotated away from the Asher, making it very difficult for Ivy to really have any kind of game impact. Putting it all onto Lucas to try to get these setups going, because Nero does not have the liberty to walk out of his nets too far, as again, pressure's being built. Yodsman unfortunately taking his own barrier there, not able to find the angle he really wanted to, as almost a KO being found by Zar. Flip available for Cookies, playing so far back, needs to use it. Fire up value coming through, and unfortunately for the side of Blobcap, that Centaur ultimate goes a bit south as Ivy finds the first goal for Wildcards here.
Yeah, for a second I thought that Ivy had managed to get the gap, I believe, in between. I believe that was an Oni's blade that was tried, because there's a gap in between that. I thought they managed to find that, but we're going to see if that manages to hold up. Cookie looking very low. Both two team members at the very least tried to kind of ward him off, but managed to do that. Managed to survive another day as Wildcard trying to set up in the Bob Gap's side of the net, trying to see if they can't get this next goal. Nice combination! They do manage to get the barrier, immediately flips, waits for it to open, and just kind of squeezes it through for the tied set.
Yeah, that shotgun from Nero coming in clutch, getting that strike a little bit late, which gave them the barrier in the end, as now Wildcard's back in this. Next goal decides the first set victory. Zar has a flip soon, probably wants to use it here to confirm the barrier, will do so successfully, as we're now trying to rotate back, trying to get themselves set up again, because now Cookies is the one with flip, and now you want to get him into a position where he can use it, but the Asher push is just going to be too much, and Nero gets punished. The play that Nero has learned from this season, the aggressive midfield play that he's been excelling at so much, got punished for the first time in a while, because he ran up a bit too much. Zar saw that, stuns it, and gets it past him, and if the goalie walks up and you get it past him, what can he do at that point, right? It's just going to go in, and they're going to get rewarded with a heavy impact first out. Yeah.
Heavy impact. What can Estelle do without you? A lot, really, but heavy impact is always welcome. On the other hand, sparking it up is Atlas, just better to have than to have not in this situation. Happy start going to Drakkar. Of course, I was going to make. I'm not going to make the joke. Next set. Need to see if Blobgap can keep this up. Get their vengeance on. Get their vengeance on Wildcard. Said that before. Say it again. But Wildcard not exactly looking to let things go. Path Splitter trying to shove things through, but I was about to say it gets defended, but only for a little bit. None of Blobgap in position as Ivory just slots it down into the bottom corner, manages to get past the entire defensive squad, and gets a quick first point.
Yeah, an important one at that as well, because again, momentum is a very real thing. Zentaro also, Cookie is also taking a lot of damage. Zara trying to find a KO, they're not able to do so. Nice pass up to Cookie still. Gonna put him into the corner. Will not take the barriers. The Drakkar with a shotgun on the rapid fire. It's just too much. And now Flip for Ivy immediately used it to get the KO. So Wildcards again in a very strong power play right now. The Asher ultimate coming through as well. The pass splitter not getting the barrier though, as the expense comes through as well. Not able to get up there in time though as Yodsman. As another KO gets found, and Wildcards are slowly starting to find their way into this game and into their game plan, as they're going to be taking another goal.
Yeah, it's just like beautiful persistence on that one. All three team members coming up to try and like keep that offensive onslaught going. Blobgap not able to respond well enough now, nor in time. So good on them being able to pull that off. I especially like the, you mentioned it earlier, but I like the support that Nero's been able to give them, even if it may be a little bit risky, kind of like just trying to like move up so much. But it does manage to work sometimes. Case in point, like they're that to Lucas. Does manage to get the ball, does manage to get the core into the barrier. Open goal. Wild card kind of rocking and rolling. Took that set pretty convincingly.
Yeah, it went by so fast as well. I feel like we just basically started it, but here we are already. And we do have the Catalyst, which is going to be picked up by Ivy. Knowing not to let that drop too far, even though Cookies is the only one to fire up, it's still a great pickup for yourself. You do give a second Spark to Atlas, who already has Spark of Strength. Giving him a cooldown as well could be a bit scary. You trade back Chrono Boost. No, you go Adrenaline Rush for Lucas here, which is interesting. I would have expected him to go Chrono, but Adren Rush, again, they've been finding KO, so you want to play for that. It does make sense. Among Titans, Forza Heinef, though, is going to be a great pickup for movement speed, and then the last two Chrono Boost and a bit of size are also not to be scoffed at, but we will go into the start set. Tied game next. 3 sets decides if we go into a third game or not.
Yeah, we're about to find out. Meanwhile, you can see like Cookies both taking and dealing a lot of damage. While Lucas not looking very healthy, but Cookie looking very dead. So it is Wildcard who are kind of like on the warpath at the moment. Flip comes out and delayed. Not even like a flip shot, just waited it out. Won the strike war attempt, seemed like, or maybe Zerhainev just kind of like flinched, but they did manage to get that point in. So good on them. Wildcard taking that first goal for this set.
Yeah, very much so. The pass splitter coming through again, and it is just that corner offense that is just so difficult to deal with against an Asher. You do find the cross clear, but it immediately gets caught by a Nero, who just starts sending it forward again. Blobgap just not able to really get the core into the enemy half, and they're also just going to be taken out. Again, another KO. Flipping used. Strike away though. Zar has a flip available, uses it here to take the barrier, has core control as well, but surely just going to be taken out by Lucas here, or by Nero, as both of them miss their abilities. The ultimate from Drek coming through, going to put him into stagger or close to it, as they do get the barrier. Nero again walking up, and again we are the victim of the goalie walk up. Zar catching Nero off guard and evening out this set.
Yeah, no, so you've got to be cognizant of that. That is the second time that has happened in short order. At this point, it's one of those things that I feel like Blobgap has to notice it a third time. Blobgap has to notice it. They're not even able to clear it out. They own barrier. This is just a bit of a defensive collapse from Wildcard. Meanwhile, the defense on Blobgap's side looking solid for the time being.
For now, it's looking solid. We'll have to see how long, though, as the Osmans try to get the core over. Now ultimate to rotate, playing both sides here. Flip having to be used by Osman. Goes through the corner, gets it past the Asher. Asher now stuns the Osman. Not much he can do about that. Pass splitter coming through, but the core rotates away from it. Cookies now has a bit of room to play, but again, immediately rotated. A lot of damage onto Centauro. Centauro really not the greatest at just staying alive in his base kit, and also not having been able to pick up any kind of stagger is very devastating for him, as he's getting just tossed around. Yotsman playing it into the corner yet again. Flip available for Cookies. Will use it to try to get it out. Zar now with fire up speed has the movement speed to walk up. The piercing shot will stun Nero and send it in, giving Zar flip as well. So really good for the side of Blobgap going into this 4th point.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see exactly how they manage to hold on. Blobgap definitely what this second set. Wildcard trying to fight back everything they have. Wildcard has been doing as best they could, but again, with Yosman just kind of like go into the hole, just like bully shoved him in. And Cookie with the dash throughs are high enough. I believe that was also like a piercing shot just to back it up. It is Blobgap with the second set. With their second set, yeah.
Ooh. Oh no! You hate to see that if you are the side of wildcards, because you're giving hotshot. You have to deny spark, so you get missile prop on Atlas. That's so bad. Okay, what else do we have? We have peak performance still here. You're probably gonna deny that off Centauro, not give that survivability. Fighter flight solid pickup, but you give 1-2 punch. This is like, I don't think I could think of a worse draft for them. Yeah, no, this is rough.
Yotsman, here's the thing. I've said it before, like, Atlas getting missile prop is surprisingly scary. Just because you get, like, that cross-map, like, extra pressure, extra support. And it can cause some wacky things to happen due to, like, perception. Like, you're not expecting those big shields to come out of nowhere. If they hit, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Wildcards do get a KO, and they don't want to play off of that. They want to get this goal in fast. They don't want to try to fizzle out this power play, but try to get in there as fast as possible. But Zar has something to say about it. Will take a lot of damage for it, though, and it's going to get taken out as well. Another Adrenaline Rush proc for Lucas there, as Cookies is now trying to keep the core up. Pass Splitter supporting that push. The strike patience being good. Nero walking up a little bit, but he holds on to his barrier. This is fine. Flipping used. This Cookies guy is gonna die pretty soon as well. He's gonna be out a third KO for Lucas. Apparently now is a KO character, and a nice strike by Ivy is gonna send it to the bottom. Yodsman nothing to defend that.
That was hard to watch. Like, if it felt like Wildcard was just in a permanent power play, just kept KOing one after another. Just brutal stuff here. So it's going to be on Blobgap to try and like realize that and just kind of like solve that problem. Standoff does not go the way of Blobgap. Cookie looking very, very low, but barrier is open on Wildcard's side. Barrier open on both sides now, pardon me. So nearly tried to go for the flip kill on Zarhainev, but no sell on that one. All members still up, still trying to make things happen. Yodsman gets stunned out and cannot catch the flip. Cannot catch the shot in time.
Yeah, not able to get that. I also respect Cookies trying to go for the back clear on that barrier before, but not able to get it. But this puts him into a rough spot now, because you don't want to go set 5, and you're going to get a KO for the side of wildcards here. The ult not out in time. Cookies has a flip, but he's also going to take a lot of damage. The Centauro doesn't have a single Stagger Awakening left in the pool. He's just going to have to deal with it, as he's just going to get pummeled into the core. He gets sent flying again. Zar now there to assist, giving Cookies some space, as Ivy gets healed up again. Stagger onto the Centauro. Ultimate from Atlas won't be there yet, as the walk-up from Drek is going to be enough to take the barrier. Zar now trying to get this 1v2, gets the barrier for it, sends it down to Cookies, who has cooldowns, but it does get saved away from him. Flip being used, set up in the corner offense, the ultimate coming through from Zentaro, and it will be enough to put it right in. Blobgap not giving up on this set just yet.
Yeah, Cookies just with a very nice persistence, managed to catch like the bounce on the bottom corner. So good on them, like you said, basically kept up with the play, didn't give up on it, said, no, we are going to go for the score. And again, Nero is punished for extending out a little bit too far. Barriers taken, chance to tie it up. Flip, try to get a little cute with it. There's the actual flip, though. Knocks it into the bottom corner and very quickly tied up. This is match point. This is series point for Blobgap all of a sudden.
It's so scary because what Nero's doing is objectively correct. You want to walk up, you want to apply pressure on this Drakkar pick, but if you just mess up cooldowns like that, it's just so painful because now you're back onto an open net. Zentaro in front of you. You do have flips. The ultimate from Atlas comes in clutch to keep Cookies alive. One flip being used does not get the barrier. As Yold's going to probably go upwards here, go into Lucas. Lucas doesn't have a flip anytime soon. Ivy doesn't have a flip anytime soon. You just have your normal abilities, your normal cooldowns. A nice stun is going to put that barrier away, though. As the pass splitter comes through, the expanse is going to be there. Strike is there, but no. Yold does not have it to actually defend it. And we're going to a set 5 with what is left in the pool. I feel like there is probably still some scary awakenings that we've forgotten. Team players here, Monumentalist is here. These are the awakenings that Wildcards has been waiting on.
Yeah, this is going to be critical. Team player immediately getting locked in. We need to see if they are going to be able to counter this. Our Blobgap with the Atlas taking, Monumentalist, Zentaro taking, the Berserker. Glass Cannon comes out again, trying to get more speed on both sides. Orb Dancer gets taken by Estelle. Recovery Drone had gotten taken by the Asher, so a little bit more size on her. Both teams getting some interesting stuff here.
Yeah, Berserker might be a bit of a sleeper pickup here for Cookies because no, don't redirect that because he's been low so often. He might actually get the benefits out of him pretty consistently. But I'll have to see. Barrier down now on the side of Blobgap. Cookies almost up to a flip already. Zentaro is a character as we are trying to get it up. Then a 1v1 again for Cookies. Nero, though, finds the angle, and now Ivy can set herself up. Asher is going to do Asher things. A nice cross clear from Yodsman. It's going to send it out. Cookies has flip available. Uses it here together with the Atlas. Going to get some HP back. KO being found, though, with the flip. So Yodsman has a flip again defensively. We'll have to see if he needs to use it or maybe hold on to it.
Yeah, gonna need to see if it needs to happen. Yes, it does. Flip goes out. Has to wait in order to get that clear, but it doesn't. It still doesn't quite happen. Core bounces off the center. The Rookie Cookie does manage to catch it up. Overtime happens. Wow, bounce off the center. Nobody's ready for it. Zarhainov manages to take the shot, bounce it off the center, and they do get the first point for this last set. Do Blobgap. First, like wild start to it.
Yeah, Zar was able to stun Lucas actually there, so he couldn't get the strike through anymore. Very excellent flip usage there. But again, this is going to be a KO. I saw that from a mile away. Yodsman is going to defend for a little bit, but now Wildcards using all of their abilities, and that's just going to go in. More importantly, still without using the Lucas flip, which means they're going to have that available. We're down to a 3-point game.
Yeah, this one is coming down to the wire. Like you said, Lucas full stick of butter. Cookies also theirs. Burns theirs real quick. Tried to get like a wild bounce off the center again. They do manage to get the barrier. Yodsman trying to clear it out from the back half. Zarhainov Rose Warbs in. Piercing shot goes through. Feeds it back up. A little bit of a slight rope-a-dope between Zarhainov and Cookies. Kind of just shakes Nero out of their shoes. Can't quite keep track of it. Second point for Blobgap, match point, series point for Blobgap. Let's see if they can wrap this one up.
And they're really trying to because Lucas has taken a lot of damage already, a lot of cooldowns being used. Zar has a flip available. They're going into the corner, trying to set themselves up, trying to get it in, but now Zar taking a lot of damage himself. Wildcards trying to carry the core upfield. Gonna be using the path splitter right there. Yodsman still has cooldowns to defend this. Will use all of them though. Flip being used now. Gets answered. Cookies down to stagger. But the Atlas ultimate is going to be there to heal a little bit. As they're trying to get it out. A beautiful flip by Zar is gonna get a KO. And this is the play that Blobcap needs to capitalize on.
Yep, piercing shot goes through. They do get the barrier, passing it around. Round it goes. Oh, Yosman wasn't ready for the back pass. Tries to back pass up to Zarhainov. Piercing shot goes out, feeds up to Cookies. Attempts the dash through, not quite able to get it. Yosman feeds it up to Cookies. Zarhainov catches it. Another back pass. Those back passes are looking kind of dangerous. Barrier gets taken. Ivory manages to intercept it close enough to get the barrier. Flip, and that was a piercing shot goes out. Overtime comes out. Flip comes out. Bit of a wild bounce, but Yosman manages to save it. Little bit of questions. They do manage to get the flip out of Ivory's, but it doesn't last for very long. Shot on goal, not quite there. Ropa kills excuse me, gets the Atlas out of it, but now they need to capitalize on this ASAP. Flip goes out, bottom corner, blob gap, get vengeance.
Oh, I was so confused when Blobcap started playing into the back. They took their own barrier. It felt so messy. It felt so like confused. But in the end, they are able to get the KO and get the goal. So that's all that matters. You're right. You get the win. And with the win comes the path into the grand finals. Wildcards, unfortunately, dropping out at third, even though they've been having such a great season. They just couldn't put it together on the day when it mattered.
Yeah, just it happened. It kind of happened again. Like they were right there, and they just couldn't close out. That was kind of like the story of these last two efforts. They couldn't close it out. They had almost all the pieces, and they couldn't quite slide it in. So, all right, you can see like from the stat line there, Yosman with a lot of solid saves. And Zarhainov with all of them again with like this 2-2-2 spread for like KOs, which is funny. It's like it was a rough one for wild cards. They've battled back as much as possible, but it was Blob Gap who was able to hold things on and win the day. So Blob Gap Voss Grand Finals. Look forward to that. That's going to be crazy. Blob Gap has had a heck of a run, really, through the losers bracket, overcoming a couple of demons, and now it is going to be on them see if they can finish this story up. But Voss has been looking solid this whole time, so need to see if that can hold out. Need to see if they'll hold out as well. It's going to be a fun grand finals. It's
going to be a fun grand finals, and keep in mind, there's some narrative in this. There is, I don't know if you remember back season 3 winners, Luminous Astrals, who was on that roster. Well, it was Lamacraft. He was having a good time. I don't know, he's somewhere in Cancun right now having a good time, just enjoying the weather or something. But it was Alex and Zar who won that season together last time around, and it's going to be the two of them meeting in grand finals again. This time Zar playing with another EUSL champion from season 2 in Cookies, and Alex picking up two teammates of his own who have not won before. So we're gonna get either Zar's third championship or Alex's second, and someone's gonna get their first today in either of these teams as well. So very exciting to see. Very good series coming up ahead, and I feel like that is it from our side. From me and P Flair, thank you very much for watching our cast, and we're going to go into a break now. We're going to enjoy the games ourselves, and you guys should get ready for yourself as well.
I'm going to get hyped in the stands. You should too. See you soon.
Okay. After, I want to say, what is it, like 12 weeks of long, hard blood, sweat, and toil. You know, you go through qualifiers, you do the 10-week regular season, and then 2 weeks of absolute slogging in the playoffs. We've made it here, SMG. We've made it to grand finals of the European Strikers League Season 4. I'm personally looking forward to it. I feel like it all has all the auspices of a pretty close matchup. Personally, I'd be hyped for a reset, but maybe that's a little too biased for me to say. So I'm hyped for whatever happens. How about that? But yeah, I'm looking real forward to this.
I would love to see a grounds reset. I mean, what more can you dream of? Everything on the line for both these teams. As you said, we've been working hard. They've gone through 10 long weeks. They've gone through day one. And Blobgap, an incredible run through the lower side, beating out wildcards in that previous series 2-0. To the surprise of many, I'd say. I mean, initially, of course, Blobgap would have been the favorites in that matchup, but wildcards have improved so much over the course of the season to where I'd say they were certainly the favorite. So very impressive for Blobgap to maintain their championship caliber form. Of course, they've got 2 championship winning members. And for the first game here, we're going to be on Amy's app. We've got Hotshot Catalyst start. So rather powerful awakenings, I would say, especially this Catalyst. And it's Vast first pick, and of course, they're just going to lock in the Drek. I mean, that's been the story of this postseason. To counter that though, Blobgap with some strong picks, the Estelle, the Rune. I wonder if the hot shot's going to fall for some of those, or it's just going to be the Catalyst. And Vast rounding out with Now and Rasmus, something that Venom and Alves have played very frequently in the postseason and the preseason. And finally, the Juliet going to drop for Blobgap here, for Cookies presumably. And actually, I'm going to make an executive call here. I'm going to say this is Cookies Rune and Zara and Juliet. Call me crazy. It's either that or it's Yodes on Rune, and I'm excited for either one of them.
What? Explain your rationale for the Zarheinef Julie.
Okay, so a bit of lore, okay? Blobgap, they were kind of down in the dumps recently, I'll be honest, okay? So they hired a specialist, okay? A vibe specialist, and that was me. And what I told them was, play what's in your heart, okay? Play with whimsy. And some of the things that resulted from that were some interesting role swaps, seeing some interesting picks like the Rune coming out in the net or on Brawler. And hey, it worked for them, you know? They played Amy Goalie, a pick that I think has been largely ruled out in game 1 versus wildcards, and they got the W in set 5. So yeah, I mean, very, very impressive stuff from them. And I think that it's not going to be some conventional comp here. I would be disappointed in them if they're not bringing their whimsy to this grand finals.
I would almost say, but we're at like the business end of proceedings here. Like this is the ultimate like win or go home type deal. Like, you really think they're gonna whimsy max here? For me, I'm excuse me. For me, I think it's gonna be more traditional. I'd love to see this or of Julie, but like, what does that do for them? Like, what is that? Are they role swapping? Is that what you're playing? Or are we gonna see a Julie midfield? Like, what is gonna happen here?
Hey, don't forget, okay, Zar has won a chip on Brawler, okay, first. Also, I mean, Cookies, from what I see when they play the swap, Cookies and Yodsman, they just play swapping around in the back line, and it can be successful. Now, would I be surprised if they just put the fries in the bag and locked in the Juliet Brawler with, you know, probably the Rune in the midfield, something conventional? No, but I still think that there are many threatening ways that this comp can pan out, and I think I'm a big fan of Estelle Goalie on this map personally. I think it's a crazy pick, and you definitely need it in the back line for some hit stun. It's super consistent, but still, as well as the Rune just being a very powerful pick, I think, in the midfield. But I also think that Rune Goalie, especially with Hotshot, is really powerful. And I think that if Yode's one of the players who, especially in the recent age where everyone's being a bit of a Gumi fanboy, wants to lock it in, Yode's is going to lock it in and have fun. Or Cookies, I mean, I think it was season 2, TMCT Grand Finals, Cookies locking in the rune with the Luna of Geo, getting them a chip, right? So there's many ways they can play this. Unlike Vass, I think, where we all kind of know where the cards are going to fall with their comp. So we'll see what Blobgaff are cooking here.
We're getting a little bit of delayed gratification here, though, because they are indeed the red side. But I'm mashing tab, and
Hey.
it's all name off for me, so you're going to have to
It
tell
is
me.
Czar on the Juliet. Guys, call me a
Holy
prophet.
crap.
Cookies on the rune. Let's go.
Goodness gracious, Mamma Mia. They are coming in, out swinging with this comp. I guess the Whimsy Coach diff may indeed be a real thing. In any case, both teams vying for possession here in top lane. A good workmanship between Venom Yami and Alves there to get an early pressure in on Estelle's luck, but no dice there. Bit of a melee here in bot playing the pillar out of Rookie Cookie, denying the out clear, perhaps inadvertently, and now they do see their first barrier fall. Vass looking to crank the heat up here in point 1, but that pillar is going to delay a bit of momentum heading into the offense here as as Alex just has to wait a smidgen to get the ball back into Alves. Opts for the up rotate, actually. Both teams really struggling to make much of anything happening, but I'm assuming that the points are going to come a little thicker and faster once these two get the hang of their role swap.
Yeah, absolutely, as Flip is forced from Yodsman there. Scary situation for him, as pretty much both of enemy forwards have a Flip, although Alves is one going to be forced out immediately there. Flip comes out from Venom as well, and that one is successful, but that is 2 Flips gone from the energy economy of Vass, so I don't know, might be a more scary point. Of course, speaking of the catalyst, it's going to be a catalyst only on the 2 brawlers here. So less energy than you might expect out of a catalyst start. But still, I'm sure they're going to be building it up plenty as Cookie's trying to work on the bottom side. And actually, that's Czar with the flip, who is cheese killed by the Rasmus. And unfortunately, the barrier also lost for Blobgap here. So disaster has struck.
They're able to weather the storm temporarily. A good clear found out of Yodsman, and also Cookies winning a couple key interactions to keep the pressure out of the net. Good dodge by Venom Yami to stay their execution just a smidgen, but it does mean they end up eating I can't say that word, ton of damage. And now the rotate is imminent. Alex doing a bit of midfielding in the stead of his dying now. Now the flip is forced out of him, and a great pillar out of Rookie Cookie means absolutely no value comes out of that. That said, we do see Czar eating so much damage that they're not too able to affect the play in the interim. Oh, but good exchange of abilities there. Ultimately, Yodsman coming up trumps to push the ball back towards Alex and friends, but they're able to do what they need to do. Good flip in the middle of the park. Yodsman batting it away. There is a power play in favor of Vass. They just have to drive onto Yodsman's net, and it's just a smidgen out of the poor Estelle strike zone for 2-0 here on set 1.
Yeah, just the damage, and I mean, all the whimsy in the world might not be enough to break through Alex on Drek. It's looking like a rough affair. Even, in those moments where they do get it through the midfield, which is already difficult, I think, in this now Rune matchup. But after they do, I mean, Alex just has everything up, and it's just going to beat everything Czar has. And that's an unfortunate bounce off the Rasmus hook that gets it through Yodes with a goal line flip to save that one. But still, the tall task remains to break through this final barrier that Alex has just been holding for this whole set so far, as Venom has a flip to his name, so possibly going to try and just use it for the offense. A great angle found, and that is 3 goals and the first set of this grand finals going over to Vass.
Vass demonstrating why they're the winning team. I guess the winning team. They came in from the winner's side of bracket, How about that? And the rapid fire onto this now, absolutely disgusting. Gonna make it so much easier for Venom Yami to police the state and force balls in through the middle of the park, let alone set up barrier traps and the works. Yodsman a bit stun locked here, perhaps making sure that something good trickles down to his rune. Ultimately opts for the fire up. Pretty understandable. Single spark falling all the way to the 4th pick, actually, which is responded to in turn by a bulk up pick by Erasmus. So both members of a team, or rather a member of each team, is setting up for some sort of scaling later down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do just think the scariest pick of this draft is that now rapid fire here. Gonna make it so difficult for the Rune and the Estelle to get the ball through the midfield, which I think has already been a bit of a struggle for the offensive blob gap. And already we saw their first barrier dropping rather rapidly, and now they're trying to work their way out of the corner, but it seems like a doomed affair right now. Zar with a nice dash to move the ball past the now. His flip going to be forced out here. Bad situation for him. Nice evade from Cookies to escape, but Zar taking a lot of poke damage from this Drakar here. Yodsman trying to hold it down on his own, and he was successful there, meaning that the ball was able to rotate momentarily into Vass's half, but once again it instantly is moved away, and once again Yods forced to flip on the defense, and a kill just simply found by Venom Yami, and the flip from Alves going to put the ball in, and that's 4 in a row for Vass.
I'll say it. Zarhynef is a bit of a coughing baby thus far in this series. Level 2 just got killed. A bit demonstrative of the day that they're currently having. It just seems so hard for this Julie to get going. Is effectively being bullied out of the play. Is trying to lay down a bit of a pain himself, actually. The reverse ult. That could have gone wrong in so many ways. But it ends up working out for him. But what doesn't work out is that strike war in the middle of the park. Venom Yami again shoving that ball into a difficult position for this blob gap side. And there goes the rapid fire value. Dorito funneling it into Scream Alves, who's able to confirm off of the primary. And it's just looking like this game is a fast sweep unless the blobs can do something to stop, remedy the course they're currently on.
Yeah, just looking like it's just everything that Blob wants to do is just a monumental task. Looking like Atlas trying to carry the world. As a hook comes out from Alves here. Nothing found just yet though. Still, their offense continues in this corner. They're moving the ball around nicely, but possibly a chance given for a clear for Yodes. Still working in that corner, so nothing found just yet. Not a horrible spot for Blob Gap to be in, as a cheese kill attempt comes out, but is evaded nicely by Alves there. Now Venom scarily in the bottom corner. Flip was forced out, but the barrier was lost regardless, and it's just going to be Alves on the top side, working his way through all 3 members of Blob Gap, and that's 6 in a row. A complete destruction here of Blob Gap by Vass so far.
That's such an evil emote to hit from Alves after he touched that goal in, but whatever. I guess what's equally evil is the wreck drone heading onto this Rasmus. Oh god, it's feeling inevitable. There's still some ways that the blobs can get themselves out of this hole. Really going to come down to the pick out of Yodsman, but once again, he's being a bit deliberate here. It does mean that the single spark deny is going to have to come out on Venom Yami. Yods also getting a good pickup in team player, which I think could be conducive to getting the ball out the back a little easier, which seems to be their biggest struggle thus far in the series. I mean, look at the level disparity between their 2 forwards and Yodsman. Yodsman evidently having to touch core so much more than his forwards, is 2 levels and then some clear of both of them. And yeah, I mean, that just exemplifies it right there. The barrier is already gone, and there goes my Rune midfielder once again.
Oh no.
Okay, just put the fries in the bag, guys. Yep, there we go. I mean, what more could you ask for as a member of Vass? Double power play, goal within 17 seconds. Christ alive, like, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. As you mentioned, I think the team player was a great pickup, but it might just be too little too late at this point. I don't know, it's somewhat looking like Blob Gap is saying GG go next a little bit. Still trying to work through this corner, and you know, they're getting the ball out a couple times, but they're not able to do it consistently. And even when they do, Alex is just lurking there, being so patient with his cooldowns. Unfortunately for him though, Strike Shot not able to save that barrier, and honestly that might be the first barrier they've broken, maybe the second in this whole game. Attempt comes out from Zar, and Blob Gap as well have an open net here, so not the easiest situation for Yodsman to be able to walk up in. But Zar has a flip to his name, trying to work the ball up the top side, but dribble is interrupted there by a shotgun. So many abilities coming out that he is going to be staggered already. He only has that level 3 HP bar, so you know, not too tanky, and Venom's just absolutely hunting him down. Flip comes out, and a great kill found out of a combination of Rookie Cookie and Estelle here, and it's going to be Zar with another kill, an absolute payback from the previous point. Just score, please. No, not like that.
Oh my god, it's just written in the stars for this boss game.
No.
Alex just somehow clutching that up. The 0 HP clutch, tapping that right through Yoz, who was caught on the overcommittal. I guess could not strike in time. That said, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom for the side of Blobgap just yet. They are getting some pressure on the barrier. They do get the flip out of Alex and almost take his barrier several times over, but it's not quite enough. Vast persists with their barrier, with that carte blanche to go forward and keep attacking. And attacking, they certainly are doing towards this poor Zarian if Julie rips the flip and gets the barrier, though. Perhaps it's their last great act. And Alves is not necessarily in a good place either. There goes the Julie, though. Power play is now in favor of Vast. They do a great job to keep the core moving between the two of them. And once again, a smart Dorito out of Venom Yami is enough to seal the deal. And there we go. Comprehensive blowout here by Voss for game 1 of Grand Finals. Goes their way without a hitch, without a goal conceded. And it is decidedly their series to lose unless Blobgap can lock in.
Yeah, that was a crushing defeat, in all honesty. Not too much you can say in terms of positives for Blobgap. Their one opportunity, and Alex, the man himself, if anyone could shut that play down, it would be him. And I mean, his decision to take Hotshot over Fire Up certainly paid off in it for that point at least. Definitely would not have been the core speed on that ult to interrupt what Yods was planning, and probably would have been saved. I mean, he probably would have got his strike up. So yeah, unfortunate, but Vast just played a monstrous game there, absolutely crushing Blobgap. I mean, no goals found. As I mentioned, it felt like they only got 2 barrier drops, maybe 3 the whole time. And yeah, that was devastating. We're going to throw to a quick break before the next game. We're just having some slight technical difficulties, but we'll be back very quickly. So don't go anywhere too quickly.